Okay, we had a little technical difficulties this morning, so we're starting at 8:32. And I want to call to order Committee Number 4, Law Enforcement. Parliamentary, please read it number 1 into the record.
Item 1 is a resolution approving the expenditure of Shelby County Sheriff's Office grant funds in an amount not to exceed $241,959.80 for the purchase of an upgrade to a bomb squad robot. This item requires the expenditure of FY 2026 Shelby County Sheriff's Office grant funds in an amount not to exceed $234,534, and Shelby County Sheriff's Office special revenue funds in the amount of $7,425.80, sponsored by Commissioner McWright.
Thank you so much, and this item has been moved by Vice Chair Bradford and seconded by Commissioner Mills. We do have a speaker. Please state your name and position for the record.
Good morning, Commissioners. Alicia Lindsay, Chief Administrative Officer, Shelby County Sheriff's Office. The item before you today is seeking an approval, a sole source approval of an upgrade to our into our bomb squad. I can't say it. I'm sorry. Let me get myself together. The item before you seeks approval of a purchase for the upgrade of a bomb squad robot used by the Shelby County Sheriff's Office, ensuring the equipment remains technology, current, and operational for an additional 10 to 15 years. The robot is a critical safety tool that allows bomb squad personnel to assess and mitigate potential explosive threats by performing tasks that would otherwise expose officers to significant life-threatening risk. Remote Tech, Inc. is an approved Shelby County vendor and has been designated as the sole source provider for this specialized equipment, as approved by the Shelby County Purchasing Department on October 30th, 2025. Funding for this upgrade is fully available and does not require general fund dollars. $234,534 will be paid from a grant fund, and the remaining $7,425.80 will be paid from forfeiture funds. Approval of this item ensures continued officer safety, operational readiness, and cost-effective use of specialized equipment. And I'll pause now in case Lieutenant Pitts wants to offer a few comments.
Thank you so much. Seeing no commissioners in the queue, let's take this item. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Please state your name and position.
Good morning. My name is Lieutenant Pitts. I'm the Shelby County Sheriff's Office Bomb Squad Commander. In addition to what Ms. Lindsay just said, our current robot's 21 years old, and this technology upgrade will allow the robot to continue service for the next 10 to 15 years. It'll prevent me having to send my officers downrange into hazardous environments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And seeing no commissioners in the queue, let's take this item down for vote. Good morning.
Madam Clerk, would you show me as an aye, please? And IT, I could use some help on my computer.
I'm an aye as well. Okay, Commissioner Mills is an aye.
Make me an aye as well.
Thank you. And I'll turn this over to Commissioner Wright since he's here. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Where are we?
After the vote, I'm turning it over to you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Can we have reports?
We have aye votes from Commissioner Sugarman, Mills, Wright, Vice Chair Bradford. We have 4 aye votes.
Thank you. This item goes down with a favor recommendation, and I'm turning this over to Commissioner Wright. Chair Wright.
Thank you again to our Vice Chair. Appreciate you filling in for me. I guess we have an add-on item. Is that right? So can we read that item into the record, please? All right, Commissioners, I know our minutes clerk is entering this item into the computer. We also, the sponsor of this, the main sponsor of the resolution is not present currently. So I think what we'll do, Madam Parliamentarian, if we can, is once this is into the record, we will put a pause on this what's the word? Recess this committee, and then we can come back when the sponsor, if that's acceptable to the
Second.
members. Okay. So I guess just minutes clerk, if you would tell me when we're prepared to do that, we'll go into recess. We're ready to recess. Okay, all right, we'll go ahead and call Committee 4 into recess, which I guess means we'll move on to Committee 15, and Madam Parliamentarian, can we read item 1? All right, now we can call Committee 15 to order and read item 1.
Item 1 is a resolution approving a 3-year lease agreement between Shelby County government on behalf of the Shelby County Sheriff's Office and AgriCenter International, Inc., a Tennessee nonprofit corporation for Showplace Arena Stables and Grounds, specifically barn, 7 stalls for the term beginning February 1, 2026 through January 31st, 2029, with an option to renew for 2 one-year renewal periods in an amount not to exceed $0 for FY 2026, with a total contract amount not to exceed $0, sponsored by Commissioner Amber Mills.
Thank you. This item has been moved by Commissioner Mills, second by Commissioner Sugarman. Good morning, Chief Lindsay.
Good morning, Commissioner Wright, Commissioners. Alicia Lindsay, Chief Administrative Officer, Shelby County Sheriff's Office, and with me I have Captain Mark Wagner. The item before you seeks approval to enter into a 3-year lease agreement with the AgriCenter and Shelby County Sheriff's Office from February 1st, 2026 through January 31st, 2029, with an option to renew to be determined at a later time. This is a no-cost lease. And, of course, the contract amount will not exceed $0. The lease will provide 7 stalls for us to house our 6 horses that we plan to purchase. And, a separate stall for their equipment for the horses. And I'm going to pause just for a moment to see if Captain Wagner has a few comments that he would like to make.
Captain Mark Wagner, Shelby County Sheriff's Office, Patrol Support Services Executive Officer. I don't really have anything to add in addition to what Chief Lindsay has mentioned, but this is where we would need to go to start up this mounted patrol unit, and the additional stall that we're requesting is for tack and food and bedding that we would store there at that facility.
All right, thank you for the presentation. We do have a couple of commissioners in the queue. Let me go to Commissioner Sugarman.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just curious about the time frame, 2026 to 2029. I know it's free. And I was just wondering, how did y'all come up with just a 3-year if it's free?
Alicia Lindsay, Chief Administrative Officer, Shelby County Sheriff's Office. These were the terms presented to us by the AgriCenter, and we were in agreement with them.
Okay. And prior to this, what was the term for the other stalls? So the same type of agreement? It's
Alicia Lindsay, Chief Administrative Officer, Shelby County Sheriff's Office. I'm not aware of the other agreements the AgriCenter may have with other entities. This is the lease agreement they proposed to us.
okay. Yeah, just curious. Free. I love free, and so maybe in the future we get some more free stalls. So thank the vendor.
Thank you, Commissioner Sugarman. Commissioner Mills?
Thank you. I'm excited about this. I'm excited. This was started with seed money from grant funds from Commissioner Wright, Commissioner Ford, and myself. Exactly when will this be up and going after this contract? You purchased the 6 horses. When will that unit be operating?
Captain Mark Wagner, Shelby County Sheriff's Office. So currently, we have several projects going to facilitate this. The first step is securing housing for the horses, which is what we're hope to accomplish here today, the lease agreement. I'm currently in talks with the vendor, and we have a negotiated plan moving forward to secure these horses. It's an adoption program. We're looking for horses that meet specific criteria that can engage with the public, that will minimize the training efforts of the new handlers. We're currently writing policies, establishing guidelines for personnel. Recently, yesterday, we put out a non-bid posting for this position. Well, we will start our application process. So there's several things that need to happen. We're also procuring horse trailers to transport these things. Now, when we purchase the horses, they will be transported here, but we need a lease agreement in place before we can do that. When they're housed here, the trailers are going, the personnel are going, food, things that you could imagine would go with live animals. And so all those things are going on kind of simultaneously, but it's, getting the housing secured and then working on the other stuff at the same time.
Okay, thank you. I'll look forward to having.
But to answer your question, I know I danced around it, as soon as we can possibly do it, but everything's kind of going at the same time. We look on having the horses projected within the next month. And then starting training soon, probably within 2 weeks of the horses getting here.
Okay, this is great. I know this is a unit that you all have been looking to have for a long time, so I'm excited to see it happen.
I don't think we've ever made it this far, so I'm excited as well
Good.
about it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Mills. Commissioner Brooks?
Thank you. Point of order first. I need to know, Madam Parliamentarian, do we have a rule that dictates the scheduling of these committees? This is kind of Jim Crowish, if you look at it, and it's been this way for a while. And I'm trying to understand, and I thought this morning, I said, well, maybe we have a rule. I just hadn't had time to look it up. So I'm asking you that.
I don't understand that
Is-
question,
okay,
but with the parliamentary portion in terms of,
No, ma'am, let me clarify for you. Each meeting, we have the same lineup, the same committees at the same times. And I'm just wondering if there's a rule that dictates this. If it isn't a rule, then, may I suggest that we rotate the schedule of times for committees? Because it looks Jim Crowish to me.
I would say to take that up with the CAO. And I don't,
Okay.
yeah.
Will
Yes,
do.
please.
Thank you, ma'am. Just one question. For some reason, I thought the Sheriff's Department had horses, but maybe I got you all confused with the Police Department. So you've never had horses?
Captain Mark Wagner, Shelby County Sheriff's Office, not to my knowledge. The Memphis Police Department has had horses for upwards of 30 years,
Okay, but you've never had horses?
and not to my knowledge, no,
Okay,
ma'am.
okay. I'm just from it used to be the county, they call it suburb, country, they call it suburbs now. And I clearly remember seeing Sheriff's Department on horses, but maybe I was confused because I was younger then. But anyway, let me ask a couple questions in terms of taking care of these horses, the food. I mean, how is that going to be funded?
The Captain Mark Wagner, Shelby County Sheriff's Office, the food is going to be funded on our original proposed budget of $110,000, and that'll cover O&M and care, maintenance, medical, vet bills, et cetera, for these horses.
So all of the things that you all need for horses, my friend has horses, and I know it's quite expensive. So let me just ask you, do you already have that in your budget? The schedule of medical kinds of examinations and all of that, you have all of that in your budget already?
Alicia Lindsay, Chief Administrative Officer, Shelby County Sheriff's Office. Yes, Commissioner Brooks, we have $110,000 in our mounted patrol budget, of which It came from CEP funds, sponsored by Commissioner Mills, Commissioner Ford, and I believe Commissioner Wright.
Yeah, I heard that. I'm just wondering if that is going to be enough. If you're talking about food, and how many horses? 6 horses?
Alicia Lindsay, Chief Administrative Officer, Shelby County Sheriff's Office. Yes, Commissioner Brooks, we believe that the $110,000 will be sufficient. The only thing that we didn't factor into the $110,000 was the lease, and so thankfully, it is a $0, no-cost lease. Alicia Lindsay, Chief Administrative Officer, Shelby County Sheriff's Office. We're also going to be working with the Agri Center to lease some space for the officers that will be working with the horses. And we haven't ironed that out yet, but we believe it will be a low cost, not $0 cost, but very low cost, competitive for the officers that will be working with the horses.
Thank you so much.
All right. So I had a question, but I apologize to you all that that question has escaped my my mind at the moment because of the incredibly disrespectful comments. Our chair is currently healing from a broken ankle, and for her to be referred to as implementing Jim Crow is incredibly disrespectful, and she deserves an apology. And that's all I'm going to say.
May I be recognized? Point of order.
No, you're not recognized.
You're not the
Let's
chair.
take this to a vote.
Mr. Chairman, I am seeking recognition.
The chair does not recognize you.
You're not the chair, the vice chair. I am seeking recognition.
Let's take this item to a vote, and after the vote, we can have discussion if needed.
We have aye votes from Commissioner Sugarman, Mills, Wright, Brooks, Vice Chair Bradford. We have 5 aye votes.
Thank you. That I move down with a favorable recommendation. That concludes Committee 15.
Mr. Chair, Vice Chair, am I recognized?
Commissioner Brooks, you are recognized. Let's make
Thank
this
you.
quick, please.
You know, let me just say this. The remarks made by the chair of the previous committee were totally out of order. I have a right to my opinion, and the chairperson of this committee was not mentioned. So I do know that there are certain individuals and parties that do not recognize rights of people, but the First Amendment gives me the right to say what I want to say. And I did not say fire in a burning building. So, you know, you're not going to characterize my remarks and then sit there and get away with it without some rebuttal. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Brooks. All right. Let's call to order Committee Number 5, Land Use, Planning, Transportation, and Codes.
Item 1 is a resolution pursuant to Chapter 9.6 of the Unified Development Code of the County of Shelby and the City of Memphis, Tennessee, granting a special use permit for land located at 1300 North Houston Levee Road, known as case number SUP 25-003CO, sponsored by Chairwoman Shantae K. Avant.
Thank you. This item was moved by Commissioner Sugarman. I have seconded the item. Director Ragsdale, good morning.
Good morning, Chair Bradford. Brett Ragsdale, Division of Planning and Development. I believe we have a presentation that's getting queued up right now, and Ms. Cobbs will be able to give you a brief presentation and answer any questions you have.
Excellent. Thank you.
Good morning. Kendra Cobbs, Division of Planning and Development. I am going to present this item. It is SUP 2025-038 and SUP 2025.
This presentation's got, okay, it's got both. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Also SUP 2025-039. This is an application for utility solar.
I am going to interrupt. I think the first one we have on the agenda is for the 1300 North Houston levy.
I do apologize. Brett Ragsdale, Division of Planning and Development. That case was actually withdrawn by the applicant.
Okay.
And so they withdrew that yesterday, actually.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to withdraw item number 1. This is the case pending at 1300 North Houston Levy Road. I have a second for Commissioner Sugarman. I hear any objections to that?
On behalf of the department.
All right, on behalf of the department, we are withdrawing it. Commissioner Sugarman, you were in the queue on this to speak to this. Did you still want to speak to it, or were you going to withdraw it?
Yes, no, I would like to still speak for
All
the public record. Again, in my district, and again, this, even if this is not my district, Houston Levy is a great area, but having said that, there have been 4 gas stations since I've been here alone, one previously before. And I just want to say, we need to be very cognizant of what we're doing to our neighborhoods, because, for example, I had neighborhood meetings, HOA meetings over the week, and they're livid. And also, I want to put this out, Memphis 3.0 is not reaching out to the Memphis area that's in my location. In fact, one of my constituents said they had 2 or 3 meetings already, and only 4 people showed up. And so Memphis 3.0 needs to reach out as well to see what the people in my district want. My constituents are livid. There's no communication. They're pushed upon about these HOAs, storage facilities. I'm not fussing at you. I'm speaking to the record. But I'm looking at you because you know you got the emails too, I'm sure. But I'm looking at you. But Ragsdale, you in a very precarious situation here. And again, it's not towards you, but it's to the Memphis City Council, the Memphis mayor, all the leadership. You all need to speak to not only my constituents, but the county commission. Because sometimes it goes before the city council and we don't even hear about it, but we're the ones that get the heat. So again, we need to all reach out, including the mayor of Collierville and the mayor of Germantown. When they ask me questions, I need to be able to answer them as well, because this impacts their areas as well. And I've been, reaching and communicating with them, and they're upset about this as well, because it bleeds over into their communities. And so again, I'm asking that we have more communication between the leaderships, the constituents, and the people out there who want to develop. We do want developers, don't get me wrong, but we want to work together. Don't push into our communities what we do not want, but we do want development. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Sugarman. All right, item 1 has officially been withdrawn, so we will take that off of the agenda. Parliamentarian, if we could read item 2 and get it properly before us, and then I'll go back to Mrs. Cobb for the presentation. So item number 2, please.
Item 2 is a resolution pursuant to Chapter 9.6 of the Unified Development Code of the County of Shelby and the City of Memphis, Tennessee, granting a special use permit for land located at 8414 Armour Road, which is on the east side of Armour Road and north of Millington Arlington Road, known as case number SUP 2025-038 and SUP 2025-039CO, sponsored by Commissioner David C. Bradford, Jr.
All right, I have moved this item. Commissioner Wright has seconded the item. Mr. Ragsdale, Ms. Cobb, good morning again. Ms. Cobb, I will let you proceed with the presentation now. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you. Kendra Cobbs, Division of Planning and Development. Next slide, please. So this is located in unincorporated Shelby County. As mentioned, it's 8414 Armour Road. There were notices that were sent out December 18th, 14 notices. And the image to the right, the vicinity map, does show where the notices were sent. The site, 8414 Armour Road, is highlighted in blue. Next slide, please. So this is, the location is zone conservation agriculture, and a small portion of the rear of the lot is also floodway, and that is shown in the map to the left. To the right is the land use map, so this is a fairly, a largely rural area, so the majority of the lots adjacent and surrounding are vacant. There are some single-family properties that are a little distance away. Next slide, please. These are photos of the location. It is a vacant lot, and it has historically been vacant. Next slide, please. And this is just a concept plan of the proposed utility-scale solar facilities. So there would be proposed 2 solar facilities, and you have the one in the front, and they're marked in blue, so highlighted in blue. You have those 2 locations, a small portion that would be in the front, and then later on, the additional application, SUP 2025-039, that would be to the rear of the lot. Next slide, please. So just to close, the applicant has requested 2 utility-scale solar facilities at 814 Armour Road, and it's approximately a 139-acre lot. These were submitted as 2 separate applications. However, the details for what is proposed and for the development, the project information, it is all the same. Therefore, we did 1 staff report for that. This is an undeveloped lot, and it's in unincorporated Shelby County. This was presented to the Land Use Control Board on January 8th. And it was recommended to be approved with the conditions listed in the staff report, and that's also the recommendation by staff. There was no opposition to this application. There's been no inquiry to this application. Next slide, please. So the recommendation is approval with conditions. The conditions are listed in the staff report. I believe you have copies of that, and the conditions are on page 15. The Land Use Control Board recommended approval as well, and it was a unanimous vote, 8-0, on the consent agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cobb. Commissioner Sugarman, I see you're in the queue. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. And so I just have a few questions about the community engagement. Has there been any? If so, how many? And if not, why not?
Yes, so as a part of the special use permit, a neighborhood meeting is required, and the applicant did hold a neighborhood meeting.
And also indicate how many they were there, because I've seen some, and there were like 4 people there. So I wish you would also indicate the number of people as well. Do you have any future communication, and how was this communicated to the community? Was it by radio, newsletters, et cetera? Thank you.
So the applicant is required to have the neighborhood meeting, and it was held on November 4th, and there were approximately 5 participants, 5 people who showed up to the meeting. Those who were there, they were in agreement with the proposal, and notification went out by public notice, which is required through special use permits. So within a 750-foot radius, that is how notices were sent.
Okay, and based on the turnouts I'm seeing, and what you just said, 5, I mean, social media, radio, things of that nature, because it's not getting out to the people. And then what happens is, once they're approved, then they come here and live it. And they say, we weren't notified, this, that, and the other. So can you all invest in some type of mode besides, what you're doing? Because apparently it's not working. And then the other thing I'm just questioning is, as far as our resolution that we passed, Commissioner Brooks, didn't we require 3 meetings, or was it just 1? Because I keep hearing a meeting.
That is particularly applicable to TIFs. However, according to TASER, a meeting that is held at the Board of Aldermen or the Board of Commissioners does not count as the community public meeting. So in addition to a meeting you may have had with your little landmarks committee, you need to have one in the community. But what you're speaking to, the 0.5, is particularly applicable to TIFs.
Okay, I have 37 seconds left, and I just want to say this, I know is not my district, but I'm just saying, it's a pattern, is what I'm seeing. And so I don't know if we need to revise that resolution, because especially my district, they're continually telling me they're not being notified, especially when there's zoning issues. And so maybe we need to relook at that, because I think 3 meetings, be more efficient as opposed to 1. And again, like I stated for the record, this is not my district, but I see a pattern, so thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Sugarman. Commissioner Mills.
Thank you. This is my district, and there was a community meeting. I went to it. This company has gone above and beyond more than any other company I have dealt with doing a land use item for a special use permit, far and above anything I have seen, and I commend them for what they have done. Rural Shelby County is not like your suburban municipal or big city of Memphis. People are so spread out. They are so few and far between. There is a ton of farmland, which these solar companies are looking to purchase or lease or whatever to use. This solar company already has a solar farm there, and this is not a new one. This is an addition to a current solar farm. So this is treated a little differently. The neighbors that came to the meeting, they were kind of the leaders of the community, I would say, that talk to everybody, and they don't like solar farms, whatever, but this is an addition to a current solar farm, so it is different in that aspect. And there is 0 opposition to this. I have not heard of any opposition myself, and so I just wanted to confirm for the record again, there's no opposition. Because they see this for what it is. It's attached to an existing, it's not a whole new solar farm. So with that being said, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Mills. And just to follow up with either of you, no opposition is correct?
That is correct. No opposition, no inquiries.
Excellent. All right, seeing no other commissioners in the queue, I think our standard procedures are to send this down without recommendation for our Monday meeting, so I'll make that motion. Have a second? All right, we have a second to send it down without recommendation. Any other discussion? All right, this will be heard on Director Ragsdale.
I was wanting to speak maybe after this
Okay.
is about.
All right, hearing no more on this item, it will go down without recommendation. Mr. Ragsdale, you now have the floor.
Thank you, Chair Bradford. I know you just have a few minutes, but I just wanted to go back to Commissioner Sugarman's comments on the first case. Just, I want to make sure we had a little time, and I appreciate those comments. And going back to community meetings, gas stations in particular, I know we've talked about that a lot. I think that some of the engagement we have, the case that was just withdrawn, the item number 1, is a good example. The case that was in your district that was withdrawn previously, we recommended rejection, Land Use Control Board did, and they were subsequently withdrawn. There is still one more that's coming back to this body that was held a couple of times that another that we recommend rejection, and Lions Control Board. And I think that, through this process, we are, rejecting those when it's appropriate, and if they are, appropriate uses, then this body would approve those. Through the code update that we've talked about, we're going to be coming back to you with a presentation, just an initial presentation, hopefully in February, to talk about the zoning map and the code update that will hopefully be able to resolve some of these, that we'll just have those updates that will allow the uses that we think are appropriate in those areas without even going through a special use permit. That won't even be an option. So that's hopefully something that will resolve some of these issues. And so we look forward to presenting that to you, hopefully in one of your first meetings in February. So,
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
thank you.
Thank you, Director Ragsdale. Seeing nothing more on the Land Use Planning Committee, I will wrap that one up. We've had an ongoing discussion between the committees this morning about the agenda direction and how this agenda comes forward. I did want to share a little bit of light. Not our current chair, but one of the past chairs noted that I am typically one of the first commissioners here, and so they asked if I had a problem chairing first. And so usually my items have been put at the first, and it's just all about whoever's here. I think there are other commissioners that have family issues and other difficulty getting here first thing in the morning, and so I think typically their committees have been moved later in the agenda. But I think that's how the agenda is developed. I don't think it has any other ulterior motives. All right, that concludes land use planning, and everything else we'll turn over to budget and finance.
All right, I think we might need to give it a few seconds here. We need to wait till it's 9:10, which it is now. All right. I'll call to order Committee Number 1, Budget and Finance. If we can read item number 1.
Item 1 is a resolution receiving and filing the November 2025 monthly comprehensive financial update reports entitled Shelby County Government Monthly Commission Division Reports for the year ending June 30th, 2026, sponsored by Commissioner Michael Whaley.
Okay, thanks so much. Item 1, moved by Vice Chair Bradford, seconded by Commissioner Wright. Good morning, Director Schumbaum.
Good morning, Danielle Schonbaum, Deputy Director, Administration and Finance. You have before you the November 30th, 2025 monthly financial report. As of November 30th, our total revenue was $86.5 million versus $79.8 million in prior year, up 6.7%. So as we've discussed before, November presents the lowest position in the county's cash position, and represents at this time of year only 15.9% of budget. We do start receiving the bulk of our property tax revenue in December through February. Property tax revenue is $38.3 million, or 9.8% of budget, as compared to $37.1 million, or 11% of budget in prior year. While the absolute number is higher as a percentage of budget, we are still trailing prior year a little bit, I think in part due to those later than normal tax billings. It does not indicate that we will not be fully collecting, and we certainly in December started seeing that we are receiving the bulk of our property tax revenue. A higher percentage of the penny was allocated to the general fund in FY 26, resulting in a budgeted increase. So that's why, even though we've collected a little bit more, we are still, as a percentage of budget, a little bit lower. Other local taxes are not meaningfully changed from the prior year. Business tax revenue is up slightly. State revenue is up $2.6 million. That's the timing from the state tend to be, like last month we were behind, this month we're ahead. It's just timing from the state is not consistent. Federal and local revenues are down just slightly from prior year. Again, not meaningfully changed from prior year. Fines and fees are up at $21.9 million versus $18.8 million in FY25. As we have discussed throughout the year, the majority of this is due to the FY25 cleanup by the General Sessions received by County Finance in FY26. Personnel expenditures are up 14 million or 10.2% due to increasing personnel costs. This is the 6% and 3% salary increases that we've received over the last 2 years. O&M expenditures are at 37.1 million or 24.3% of budget, down slightly from prior year. We have seen increases in some lines in software acquisitions, safety, supplies, and food services cost. Again, as we've discussed previously, the latter is due to some increasing costs that we're seeing from the Memphis Safe Task Force. With that, I'll open it for questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Deputy Director Schonbaum. I don't see anyone on the screen, so I think we can prepare the screen to vote on item number 1. All right, Commissioners, please cast your votes. Okay, we can close the screen and record the vote.
We have aye votes from Commissioner Whaley, Commissioner Bibbs, Sugarman, Brooks, Vice Chair Bradford. We have 4 aye votes.
All right, thank you. Item 1 will go down with a favorable recommendation. Item number 2.
Item 2 is a presentation to last approximately 15 minutes, an actuarial valuation report by Ed Coble on behalf of Kavanaugh McDonald Consulting presenting.
Okay, thank you. We'll put 15 minutes on the clock. Commissioner Coble, welcome. If you'll just state your name and title, and then you'll have 15 minutes. And then we've all got a copy of the presentation, so the floor is yours.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. My name is Ed Coble. I'm the CEO and consulting actuary at Kavanaugh McDonald Consulting, or better known as CavMac. We are an actuarial firm headquartered out of Kennesaw, Georgia. We've been the actuary for the county for going on 15 years now, so it's a pleasure to be here with you all. Just a reminder of what I do, or what our firm does for the county, is we are the actuary that comes in and produces a lot of numbers, but basically we're here to tell you about how the funding of the retirement system, the pension plan for all the Shelby County employees, and the healthcare plans are doing. It's an annual valuation. We kind of come in here and give you just some key findings on our 2025 valuation. I presented last month to the retirement system, and they accepted the report last month in December. So we'll go on to the next slide. We're going to talk about the pension plan first. So just to give a little bit of background, this pension plan covers about 10,000, a little over 10,000 members, split pretty evenly between active members and retirees. And again, our job as actuaries is to make sure that those retirees are getting their pension benefits. The plan is sustainable. It's stable, and there's no issues. So a lot of math involved, but basically the county pension plan is paying out over $130 million to retirees. It's a great benefit for the folks who have spent their lives working for the county. And again, it's an honor to be part of that team to make sure that they're receiving their benefits. Part of that is having a trust of assets to invest in the markets, and this was a good year as of 2025 and fiscal year end. It was a little over 11% return, and we're now up over, as of June 30th, 2025, we're up over $1.65 billion in assets to cover those benefit payments. So the plan is pretty sustainable.
We had no changes in assumptions or plan provisions for the year. So, no issues there. There is still an unfunded actuarial accrued liability. I'll just spend a little couple minutes explaining what that is. So we develop a present value of all the vested benefits for all the members, actives, and retirees, and we compare that present value or liability to the assets of the plan. It has an unfunded of about $650 million as of June 30th. It's okay to have an unfunded actual accrued liability. In fact, most pension plans, public sector pension plans in the country have an unfunded accrued liability. My job as the actuary is to make sure that we're making progress to decrease that amount. And so we did. We did this year. It was great news. Again, we presented last month and we had a good meeting. So it's good to see that unfunded liability is coming down. The assets helped. The return, again, was helpful in bringing down that payment. And we want to continue to see that. And the board and I spent a lot of time in making sure that the contributions coming in cover that, and we see that. So on the flip side of the unfunded liability is the funded ratio. So we take the assets and divide by the liabilities, and we see that the funded ratio increased from 69.4% to 70.9%. I always tell the retirement system it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. We're not here to get the plan to 100% funded in the next couple years. If the county wanted to write a check for $650 million, we could be, but we know that that's a lot of money. So we're at 70.9%. We are expected in the next 15 years to take that 70% to 100%. That's what I hope, and the county has made the required contributions each year that I've told them, which is very important, and it actually is a state statute that it is made. So this year, again, good news is we're requiring a less of a percentage of payroll to be contributed into the pension plan. We dropped that by 1 full percent from 29.53% of payroll to 28.53% of payroll. It is still a big number as far as dollar amounts. It's almost $88 million. But again, we're paying out $130 million in benefit payments. We need to contribute about $88 million in contributions. The rest of that difference will be made up in investment earnings. And when we have great years like the 11% return, we beat our market. We beat our expectations pretty significantly. So again, we're on a good pace for this year. For this fiscal year, I think returns have been pretty good. The markets have been helpful this year as well. And hopefully that will continue for the rest of the fiscal year. I'll go on to the healthcare plan system. This plan is even better funded than the pension plan, which is fantastic. They had even a better return, 12.5%. Their unfunded is actually a surplus. They are over 188% funded. We've got more assets to cover the liabilities, which is fantastic. We'll save that surplus for a rainy day in case markets do come down. But for this plan, for the healthcare plan, there's no dollars that need to be contributed. We basically can use that surplus to cover the difference of paying out those the healthcare benefits to all those members in the county OPEB plan. Going on to the last slide, part of your oversee is also the school's health care plan. So we are the actuary for the school's health care plan as well. We call that OPEB, just for an acronym, just in case you wanted to know what that was. It stands for Other Post-Employment Benefits, but it basically stands for any health care or life insurance benefits that are provided to those members. So the school's plan has been ramping up their funding. They were a plan that was just on a pay-as-you-go basis, but basically they contributed whatever the benefit payments were going to be. So they didn't start funding for this like the county did until more recently. So we have now a trust that we're building up in assets, and that asset pool has reached $165 million this year. We had over a 9% return. They're a little bit more conservative in their investments than the county plans. And so they do have an unfunded actuarial accrued liability. Again, it did increase this year, but their funded ratio increased. So again, they just started making those payments that we're telling them to, or they're ramping that up to pay the full actuarially determined contribution. So again, this is going to be more of a marathon than even the county plan. So the funded ratio sits at 23.6%. Our calculation for their contribution rate is 10.4% of payroll for this upcoming fiscal year, which comes out to about an estimated dollar amount of $70.9 million. Their contributions last year were $36.8 million, and their benefit payments that went out were about $30.5 million. So again, they're contributing more than their benefits, which is good. We want to see that. They're not on a pay-as-you-go basis. We're setting up a trust fund, and we're getting them to pay more and try to build up that asset pool. So that's the end of my prepared remarks. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Coble, and, always good to hear that, we're increasing the value of the assets and reducing the unfunded, liability. So, Commissioners, if you have any questions, feel free to jump in. One thing I did want to touch on, you mentioned this in your presentation of the pension board, was just explaining the sort of difference between how as an actuary you value assets and how that might smooth over time or lag actual market performance.
Yeah.
Can you just explain that? Because you mentioned the 2025 market performance, but you have to kind of look at it over a long-term picture, which means that the sort of percentage might not exactly match what happened in that 1 year.
Yeah.
I think that might be helpful for the board.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So, the trust fund as a pool of assets, and we value that as of June 30th each year. So it's a snapshot date of what is in the bank account, what is in the trust fund as of a certain date. That could be down in June, and it could be up. So we as actuaries don't want to see that volatility in the asset number as of a certain snapshot date, because in a bad year, I could be here asking you to contribute a lot more in contributions because we had a bad year. So what actuaries do is we do a thing we called smoothing of the market returns over a 5-year period. And so it alleviates that volatility that we want to provide to the retirement system in the county in the contribution requirements that go in. So we do a 5-year smoothing of the past 5 years of returns. So again, this year was 11%, but we're only taking a fifth of that gain for this valuation, and we'll value a fifth of it for the next 4 valuations as well. And so we do that again to alleviate the volatility in the contribution. So in that presentation I did have on slide 2 was you see the return there in the middle bullet was 7.27%. So that's the actuarial return on assets that we valued, the average of the last 5 years. And if you remember, we've had some really good investment years this past few years, but we had one really bad year. And a really bad year is more powerful when you get a negative 8% return in a year where you're expecting almost 7%. It's really a 15% loss. So 11% return is good, but we're assuming almost 7. So it's only really a 4% loss. So that's why there's a difference. But again, we've had 3 really good good investment years to help cover that one bad year. And we hope that will continue going forward.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Commissioner Brooks?
Thank you. I hope you can help me understand. I heard you say that at one point, the schools were not funding their accounts. So I guess I'm trying to figure out, well, how are they making payments? What was going on there?
Yeah, we call that, it was, they were basically, any benefit payments that they had to pay out in healthcare benefits to their members, they would contribute that amount into a bank account or make that payment, make a contribution to pay out those benefit payments on a yearly basis. So we call that pay-as-you-go. It's a funding method.
Yeah.
It's not a very good one. I wouldn't recommend it. And when we came along, we said, we came along as their actuary, and again, I haven't been their actuary for 15 years, but over the past few years, we've been telling them to try to set up a trust fund and use those assets to get investment earnings to help cover the difference between the contributions. So when you start funding a plan like that, you have to put in more assets into it. And so we're getting them to finally start doing that.
Okay, so I guess I'm trying to understand that pay-as-you-go is horrible, and I'm not sure what kind of impact it had, particularly on retirees. But does this have anything to do or a relationship with the demerger? Not demerger, de-annex, or whatever happened to the schools? What do you call that? Demerger. So the benefits and all of those other payments that are made in conjunction with retirees and health care and so forth, they were with the school system. They were with the city school system.
Right.
And then when you had the demerger, those benefits went, who paid for those, do you know?
I'm sorry, ma'am, I don't know.
You don't have any
I
record
don't
of
have,
that?
yeah, when you said demerger,
That's before your time?
Before my time, I believe, yeah.
But hypothetically, could that have an impact on what they're doing now, or that, using that pay-as-you-go?
Yeah, I think it definitely has an impact now, and I think they're making every effort to build up that trust fund now, to be able to pay those benefits going forward. They realize that, so we're recommending what they contribute. They haven't been able to make that full contribution into their trust fund, but I think there's a plan in place to get that funding up.
But the reason for their crippling, you would say, is because of the demerger and having to pay those post benefits to those that split away.
It's possible, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Brooks. Commissioner Sugarman?
Yes, I have some questions concerning the healthcare plan. And the healthcare plan is over 188% funded. Number one, what factors led to this surplus? And then how is this surplus being protected against future market volatility or rising healthcare costs? And number three, how often is the funding strategy for this plan reevaluated? Thank you.
I'll try to take them one at a time. The cost, the investments have really helped over the past few years get that funding into a better shape. There was also, and the county may want to come up here and answer specific questions, but I believe there was a change in vendor that really helped drop the cost requirements for the county for folks' for employees' healthcare benefits. And we've seen, just experience-wise, during the COVID pandemic, people weren't going to the doctors. They couldn't go to the doctors, right? Nobody wanted to. So that really reduced claims cost significantly. And that's what we're basing our liabilities on, is the cost of people going to the doctors and how much the county is responsible for that. So that has helped get the funding to where it is. We are always monitoring and making sure we want to keep that surplus there. Unfortunately, you cannot take those assets and move them to some other plan. All right, those assets are commingled, they're for those healthcare benefits. So, but we're in place, and we do an analysis, and definitely would come here with an advice to the county to say, yeah, you should start contributing just to make sure we maintain that that surplus. And then I think your third question was, can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Yes, how often is the funding strategy for this plan to reevaluate? And I'll just real comment real quickly on what you stated, because healthcare costs are going up, and that's a huge concern. And so we want to make sure that, the our employees are, covered and not and they're very concerned about their premiums, et cetera, et cetera. But if you could just talk about how often is the funding strategy for this plan reevaluated? Thank you.
Yeah, the strategy is again, reviewed every year when we do the valuation. And I did not point out, but the third bullet in my presentation on the county OPEB, on slide 3, is we do have an expectation or assumption that healthcare is going to grow. We know it is. We're actually probably more conservative with our assumption that it's going to grow. So we have a built-up assumption that it's going to grow 7% each year. And then we have it kind of coming down to about a 4.5% ultimate trend level. But that's built up. So that's part of our expectations. And during COVID, it wasn't growing by 7%. So the plan had significant gains in those years. But we are definitely more conservative in expectations that healthcare costs are increasing.
Okay, thank you very much. Anything else, commissioners? All right, thank you, Mr. Coble, for the presentation.
Thank you.
And that will conclude item number 2 and committee number 1. We do have a little bit of time before audit. We had some comment cards. I'll give it to Vice Chair Bradford.
Thank you, Commissioner Whaley. We do have 3 public comment cards here, so since we do have about 5 minutes, I'm going to ask Ms. Katrina Greenwood, Courtney Atkinson, and Mariana Beltran Hernandez to come up. I think you all are all speaking together with the same organization, so I'm going to just give you all, let's say, 4 minutes. These folks, I think, are representing a workforce development program. I think I'll also maybe add that we do have a workforce committee that Commissioner Sugarman chairs, and so I may recommend, after you give us a brief intro of the group, to get with her, and then maybe on a future agenda, we could give you more time in front of us. So go ahead. We will give you 4 minutes.
Awesome. Can everyone hear me? Great. Good morning. Thank you so much. My name is Courtney Atkinson, and I'm the Director of Policy and Business Development at the Center for Employment Opportunities. Since 2018, CEO has operated here in Memphis with a singular focus, providing immediate, effective employment for individuals returning home from incarceration. We are here today to discuss a model proven to improve public safety, strengthen our local economy, and ensure that a person's past does not define their future. The individuals we serve face the highest barriers to entry. Over half of our participants come to us without a high school diploma or prior work experience. Historically, our model has centered on immediate paid work experience through a transitional employment model. But currently, we have strategically pivoted to a focus solely on advanced vocational training, as we actively explore and cultivate new transitional employment partnerships with the public and private sectors. This shift allows us to lean into high-skilled building. We're providing pathways to industry-recognized credentials in high-growth sectors like transportation, where our participants are obtaining commercial driver's license. By doubling down on this training, we are building a talent pipeline that directly addresses our local labor shortage. Since 2018, we have served over 800 individuals across Memphis and Shelby County, and the evidence is clear. When you bridge the gap between justice, impact, and public safety, and high-quality training, you don't just improve public safety, you actively fuel the local market with a skilled, motivated workforce. We are here today to solicit your support as we seek to scale this proven model. We believe everyone deserves a fair shot at success. To speak more specifically about our work on the ground and our current program outcomes, I'll turn it over to my colleague, Katrina Greenwood, Project Director at CEO Memphis.
Good morning, Commissioners. Since 2018, we've partnered with various organizations, including Tennessee Department of Transportation and most recently, Klondike Smoky City Community and the Memphis Zoo, demonstrating our ability to be flexible across public and private sectors. As my colleague mentioned, we're evolving our traditional model to maximize our impact. Our advanced training program directly addresses the critical financial stability barrier faced by our justice-impacted community. With a high-demand waiting list, the need is urgent, and we're positioned to deliver. Some data points just to give you, our waiting list continues to grow from our referral partners, such as the Department of Corrections, Shelby County Office of Reentry, and other community-based organizations who serve this population. They're actively seeking our proven program model. Through established partnerships with our trainers such as Excellence A Trucking, 160 Driving Academy, we deliver immediate support. Our comprehensive service model removes barriers to success. We cover full tuition costs, provide weekly stipends so that our participants can focus on their training without their financial stress. And we deliver wraparound support, including case management, transportation assistance, and job placement, creating a proven pathway from incarceration to stable careers. Our results speak for themselves. Since launching our advanced training program in 2023, 47 individuals have graduated with a credential in CDL pathway. 29 of our graduates have been placed as commercial trucking careers and secure an average starting wage of $22.14 an hour, which triples the minimum wage. But numbers only tell part of the story. One particular participant, Mr. Taylor, he's from our first CDL scholarship recipient, now owns his own territory for a major carrier. He employs 12 full-time staff members and actively hires individuals who are justice impacted, transforming them from program participants into community change makers in under 2 years. With an investment, we'll scale this proven model beyond CDL training into high-demand pathways like HVAC and other skilled trades, multiplying our impact and creating economic mobility for hundreds more justice-impacted individuals. Now, I'll turn my turn over to Ms. Marina Beltran to discuss our specific ask.
I'm going to ask you to wrap it up really quick. You've had your 4 minutes. It does sound like a wonderful program, so I would recommend maybe you getting with Commissioner Sugarman and then getting on our agenda for a longer discussion. So I'll give you another 30 seconds to wrap it up as quick as you can, and then we got to jump back into audit. Thank you.
Great. Thank you all for your time. Now that you have had the opportunity to hear from my colleagues on the success of our programming, these are some of the asks we have for the county board. First, an investment in CEO workforce development. An investment would support our advanced training programs and push Shelby County residents into high-growth industries and family-sustaining careers. Secondly, a partnership with CEO for reentry success. Shelby County agencies could partner along CEO to provide immediate paid work experience for individuals returning from incarceration, guaranteeing income and stability during the vulnerable period. And third, we request the county advocates in partnership with CEO. The county could join CEO's advocacy efforts in securing a funding earmark from Governor Lee's office. This would bring more state dollars to our community to support our constituents through a letter of support. Once again, we thank you for your time and consideration, and we hope that we can count on your partnership in ensuring support for the county's most vulnerable and most motivated citizens. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming down today. Really appreciate it. Again, get with Commissioner Sugarman or Chair Avent, and we can probably get you even more time on a future agenda item. So thank you all for being here today. Commissioner Whaley, thank you for your patience for letting us squeeze that in. Back to you, sir.
All right, very good. Yep, thank you all very much. We'll call to order Committee Number 13, Audit. If we can read item number 1.
Item 1 is a resolution receiving and filing the second quarter report of the Shelby County Trustee for the year ending June 30th, 2026, sponsored by Commissioner Michael Whaley.
All right, thank you. Item 1 moved by Vice Chair Bradford, seconded by, I'll second it. Thank you. All right, good morning, Trustee Newman.
Good morning, Commission. Regina Newman, Shelby County Trustee. This is our second quarter report for the period ending December 31st in fiscal year 26. Essentially, overall, I'm just going to say we are where we need to be at this point. As we go through the report, most of the revenues of the county are right around 50%, except for the seasonal ones like property taxes, and we will be there shortly. So the total receipts report, you've already got a more updated one than this, but this is the one as of December 31st, indicating county revenues are running around 44.4%. Sales tax is also listed, and then where the status is on each of the TIFs. Then we have on page 6 the bar charts of the percentage of property taxes collected at this point for the last 5 years. And although the dollars are more numerous this year in terms of what was billed, the percentage is about the same. And I'm going to say about the same because if you look closely, there is a very slight tick down each of the years of the last 5 years. So I'm hoping we can make that up this year, but it's not a good indicator for long term. So I'm hoping it's just an anomaly, and hopefully we can keep that at 45% as of December 31st. Then there's a breakdown on the next few pages of the different types of tax, real estate, personal property, state assessed property, and pilots. We don't get the state assessed property roll until December, so it is being billed now. So that explains why those folks don't pay early. We also have on sales tax on page 11, the analysis for the cities. And that is also, over the last 5 years, a decrease. It has been going up. It has always been going up. And this particular year, that number is slightly down on sales tax for the cities. Although overall sales tax revenues are up, and that is on page 12. You see them at $243 million. And then on the following pages, 13, 14, 15, you have a breakdown of the property tax dollar and other dollars being allocated to the general funds. The general fund, the debt service, and the schools. And due to a shift in how the property tax dollar was allocated with less to debt service and more to general fund, et cetera, these numbers are not really comparative, but this is where we are as of December 31st. On page 17, you have the breakdown of the county's investment portfolio. We received approximately $300 million in December, very late December, then the weekend came, so that money is being invested in January and has been. But we are 0.05 points above where the state portfolio is and continue to be that, so very pleased with that. On the following page, on page 18, we are at the highest yield in the last 6 years as of this point in the year, $27 million in interest. So we're very pleased with that as well. Office activity and highlights, you will be happy to know we are operating as of this quarter on our new system, which went live on September 12th. And although we continue to work out the bugs, we hope we're the only ones that are noticing them. So there are bugs every day, and so we continue to work them out. But I don't think it's spreading to the community or the taxpayers as yet. So we're pleased after this long period of time to be on the new system, and we will continue to make sure it runs smoothly and streamlines processes. We opened, as usual, 4 additional trustee remote cashiering sites December 1st. So those are listed in addition to the ones that are open in Whitehaven, Bartlett, et cetera. We anticipate implementing 3 kiosks before the end of this tax season to assist with remote cashiering, and they will take cash, and they will be able to talk to someone in the office if they have an issue. And we also started a disaster recovery plan following the September 12th kickoff and go live of the new system. We'd been planning that for a while since COVID. So the disaster recovery site is up it is well, it's not going to be staffed, but it is planned to be staffed in the event that we can't get to our building. And so that processing of the county's bank and payments can continue to run the county from an eastern site should anything happen at downtown. So I'm very pleased with that. Update on the financial empowerment centers on page 20. The clients have now paid off over $7.3 million in non-mortgage debt in the last 6 years. And then we have the expiring pilot report at the end for the year the ordinance went into effect in the last 2 years. It's not generating a lot of funds for MATA. So I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Newman. Commissioner Brooks?
Trustee Newman, I forgot, when is your empowerment summit with the youth?
Oh,
Financial
the
summit?
Adulting 101
Yeah.
is February 5th at the Agri Center.
Okay, great, thank you.
So the high school seniors are planned to attend. Last year, we had 24 of the 34 high schools involved, and so we hope to have almost all of them, and we've invited the munis this year. So all the high school seniors in the county that we can gather up.
So what time?
It's all from like 8 to 1 or something like that. So we'll
Okay.
be sending you something when it's all
Okay.
scheduled.
Great, thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Brooks. Thank you again, Trustee Newman. Madam Clerk, please prepare the screen to vote on item number 1. All right, we can close the screen and record the vote.
We have aye votes from Commissioner Whaley, Bibbs, Caswell, Sugarman, Mills, Wright, Brooks, Vice Chair Bradford. We have 8 aye votes.
All right, thank you. Item 1 will go down with a favorable recommendation. That'll conclude committee number 13. All right.
Commissioners, we're going to return to committee number 4 and pick up item 2, the add-on item. If we could read that item back into the record.
Okay, item 2 is a resolution to amend the resolution adopted by the Shelby County Board of Commissioners on September 22nd, 2025. Item number 28, resolution by the Shelby County Board of Commissioners supporting Shelby County government's 2026 state legislative agenda and requesting the Shelby County delegation to support and members of the Tennessee General Assembly to enact legislation supporting such agenda. This amendment allows the Shelby County Board of Commissioners to accept the final report of the Shelby County Public Safety Ad Hoc Committee, December 2022 through May 2025, and advance the recommendations of the Shelby County Public Safety Ad Hoc Committee, December 2022 through May 2025, sponsored by Commissioner Charlie Caswell Jr. and Commissioner Mick Wright.
Thank you so much. This item has not yet been moved. Has been moved by Commissioner Caswell. I have seconded the item. Commissioners, you should have handouts. I think there are a couple of them, but I will turn it over to Commissioner Caswell to lead you through that.
Thank you, Chairman. Again, Commissioners, appreciating the last 2.5, 3 years almost working with Commissioner Wright on our public safety ad hoc. This is not an item per asking for any physical impact. What we're doing is bringing forth our recommendation. It was so many meetings, over 25 meetings, 2 highly attended public safety, 7 P meetings that we had in the community, thanks to the Sheriff's Department hosting us at the training academy, as well as Holy Nation hosting us in the Raleigh community. But these recommendations was approved by this body last year when we brought forth all of our stakeholders from the school board, the city council, the other stakeholders to talk about the legislative agenda of 4 particular items. And there's a resolution attached to here where you all voted and it was signed by the mayor. We're just asking for continuous support at the state level to see these items through. I say this to this body, when we think about and hear so much about how do we sustain once National Guard gone, once all of our federal partners gone, how do we sustain public safety in our county? And we heard from hundreds, if not total thousands, from our community at the stakeholder meetings, coming into our ad hoc committee meetings, of what they felt like we were already doing, as we hear so often in the state comptroller show, that we was making impact around crime before October, but we are seeing even greater gains. And how do we see ourselves sustaining that? Is some of these recommendations that we provide, and both you all have a PowerPoint in evidence-based prevention that came from many of our stakeholders, UT, of our county government. And I would lastly say I was blessed to attend, and right before I went to Louisville, Kentucky, a couple of months ago, to the Cities United Conference that really aligns all of what we're seeing and doing here from other cities like Baltimore and what's the other city? It's Baltimore and Chicago, where they were seeing a high decrease in some of their violent crimes because of their prevention and intervention work. We were able to see at a national level that these entities saying, hey, we're on track of doing the right things. And so we're just asking this body again to accept these recommendations from our community. A lot of work went into in these meetings and community meetings we had to bring this recommendation to this body. Again, this is not asking for support for any particular item at this time, but we will, as we get ready to move into budget, be bringing other items back that we say that we need to really be serious about, consider supporting. I want to just take a moment, privilege, Chairman, to just thank CEO for coming. I had an opportunity to go and sit with them and hear about their amazing program, which in line with some of these recommendations when we talk about reentry and how do we really be intentional about addressing that. We got a lot of individuals right now that's going into the 201 popular system. What are they going to do when they get out? How are we going to be intentional about making sure we're connecting them with programs that's going to get them to work, get them a better life going forward, and that's what this recommendation do. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. So I did have a question for you, because I thought we had brought forward from the ad hoc a list of legislative agenda items. Did we do that last year?
Yes, sir, it was, and it's still in there. And as I look at the legislative agenda for this year, as it talk about public safety, those are on the third page, if you go 1, 2, 3, over 1, 2, 3, the back of the third page, whereas committee voted to support the following 5 legislative priorities. It speaks to automation of expunction when cases are dismissed or rolled. And then it also, number 2, talks about enhanced penalties for illegal weapon modifications, expand youth counseling and intervention service, jail infrastructure funding through a proposed sales tax referendum, and then increase investment in reentry, mental health, and workforce.
Okay, thank you. I thought I had remembered us doing that, but was that incorporated as part of this year's legislative agenda?
So I understood from the chairwoman of legislative that we were going to continue what we already had submitted to them, so it was to be continued to support that. And when you look at this year, again, resolution, item number 3, public safety, requested state will continue to increase support of the Crime Commission Safe Community Plan. That's part of it. So some of our recommendations come from the Crime Commission recommendations as well. So, and Bill Gibbons, who is the chair of the Crime Commission, was also part of that body that voted for the unified items that we voted on.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. I do have a couple of commissioners in the queue. Commissioner Brooks.
To the sponsor, so this packet that we have, what are you asking? Are you asking us to receive this? Are you asking us to, what are you asking us to do?
Basically, just like when you had your pilot, to ask us to receive the recommendations from our public safety ad hoc committee.
So we're just receiving it?
Just receiving it, yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Brooks. Commissioner Thornton.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to yourself and Commissioner Caswell for the work that y'all have committed to 3 years, right? It's a very long commitment, and so thank you to everyone that participated and just got us to this point. I just wanted to ask some questions about a couple of things in your packet. So the legislative agenda, I see a number of different bodies that are named. For each of these, do you already know who's going to sponsor the legislation to get it to the floor? Or is all of this something that we can anticipate is going to come from the chair or vice chair of the committee?
Yeah, again, that's some of these items I think were even being addressed last year. I have to go back and look. This is something that the lobbyist was working on because these was items we voted on last year and sent over to him to look into. I will follow up and get back with you, Commissioner, about what items did get picked up last year, what was already being pursued to support. And again, some of these are in the Crime Commission package, and I'll ask those items I know are being carried forward.
Nice, that would be helpful. I know that when we receive the recommendations, I'm always looking to see what we're actually going to take legislative action on. And if there has been action taken, then I would like to know what progress has been made and where any of those hiccups are. And then an additional question that I have is related to the programs. This is not necessarily something I think that you, through the chair, can respond to, but I see the District Connector program is mentioned. And since budget season, there was just some confusion about what actually is the funding source for it. So I see in the packet, it says it's funded through the opioid settlement, but it's my understanding that the administration has picked up the tab for the District Connector program because it was cut out of last year's budget. Do you have any clarity about, or is there anyone, Director Tipton, can you clarify what exactly is the funding source of the District Connector program?
Sandy Brownlee, Division of Community Services. Our connector program is funded under the Opioid Recovery Fund. You all passed it for over 3-year cycle.
So if I could get, I'm going to ask either Commissioner Ford or Commissioner Wright to chime in here because it was my understanding that that program's funding was amended, and I would just like to get some clarity on what actually is funding the program.
I'll recognize Commissioner Ford if he'd like to speak.
Look, to whoever I need to talk to, we know what happened in budget. We know what base we put as far as what was cut, but I believe wholeheartedly that that was not adhered to because right after those cuts, in concert with the additions, we were getting emails about, oh, the District Connector program is still intact. And I was like, Now, unless they're paying out of another pot and not letting us know, then that's where we're at. So to answer your question, Commissioner Thornton, there was a base that was put by Commissioner Wright and myself. I still have the itemization of all of that, and then we put in additions. We had back and forth conversation. As far as the opioid money is concerned, $1.6 million was taken out for the purposes of finding the $21.5 million of cuts that we agreed on, that the majority of the body agreed on. And I believe that's what we came up with before we started adding things. Is that correct, Commissioner Wright?
You're the numbers person.
You had something. We worked together with your sheet and my sheet on public record, and we had an itemization of a list. And I was waiting for Ms. Tipton to get here.
Well,
what's going to happen is this. Let me see this last part. I know what was stated on record. I think that finance and I are going to have a different perspective on what the intent was. And I think that's why Ms. Tipton is sitting right there to state whatever she's going to state, because this is not the first time we've had this conversation. So I'm going to leave it there so I won't take my colleagues' time. But that's where we're at.
So I'll say, Commissioner Thornton, your time did expire, but if you could get back in the queue, but if Ms. Timpton, if you want to briefly speak to that question?
Thank you. Audrey Tipton, Director of Administration and Finance. Good morning. Just to add some clarity here, I think that the state or some people from the state came down to add information on whether or not the district connectors were an allowable expense using opioid dollars. And the conclusion that we received was that it was, and that it remained in the opioid budget. As far as utilizing opioid funds to balance the budget at the end of the year, we did not use opioid funds to do that. So the District Connector program is still intact, and it is still being funded through the opioid funding.
Thank you, Director Tipton. Commissioner Brooks? All right, Commissioner Caswell?
Thank you, and to my colleagues again. I know that this item again was, I put it into our PowerPoint because it was a recommendation from our committee. Whether funded, unfunded, didn't like the program, whatever happened 2 years, 3 years into that program, that's not what this recommendation is. It's just speaking to the work that was being done, recommendations that came out of our committee. So I ask that this body, again, to this item, we're just asking for acceptance of the recommendation, not acceptance for funding, for nothing. That is not asking, we're not asking for that. That's something that I believe is an item that you all can continue to take on. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Caswell. Back to Commissioner Thornton.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to ask legal, can we get support to figure out what actually happened concerning the District Connector program? Because it was a statement that was made in making the cut and amendment to the program. And so I don't want to just, it's not about the recommendation. It's not about what's an allowable expense. It's about whether or not the commission feels like it should be funded by the opioid settlement funds. And so I felt like a statement was made during budget season, and then to see it just be disregarded is concerning to me, because I don't know what other things that were made as a decision during budget season have also too been disregarded. The District Connector program was clearly cut out of the budget that was passed. So how it is continuing to be funded, I'm just trying to figure that part out. And I would like for legal and finance to make a statement on that, because I personally am very dissatisfied with the program, and I do not think that it is a good use of taxpayer dollars from the perspective of District 10. I just went on a tour in Millington, and my District Connector was hanging out in Millington. It's budget season, and I'm communicating very explicitly that my district is not connected. We literally have an office that is not connected to a number of neighborhoods that have no organizing structure. So what my district connector is doing day to day, I have no clue, and I definitely question the effectiveness. And so with that in mind, I'm fine with all the recommendations, but I don't want to show any solidarity with the district connector program, and I would like to bifurcate out this particular point one of tangible actions and programs for it to be considered on its own. I do think that the commission should look into the District Connector program, and particularly because we're in January of budget season, we need to figure out if this program is actually meeting its marks. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. So first of all, I just was reminded, the parliamentarian said that we need to take an action on this item. It's that it didn't have a cover sheet, is that correct?
Well, it does have a summary sheet, which is great, because that's often missing. But one of the other requirements is to also have the routing sheet if it's an add-on. We generally don't require that for commission-driven items, but it is in our rules. And since we are getting nitpicky about when the rules are enforced, I'd appreciate if you would just take up a motion to suspend the rule.
Okay, so you've heard the parliamentarian. Is there a motion to suspend the rules? Commissioner Caswell has made that motion.
I make a motion to suspend the rule.
Motion by Caswell. I'll second that. Can we do that without objection? Hearing none, so moved. So thank you, Commissioners, for that. Let me go to our county attorney's office, and I'll just say, unless you're prepared now to give an answer to Commissioner Thornton, if you would just please follow up on that and maybe send that to all commissioners before Monday so we can have that information. Commissioner Ford.
Is Ms. Tipton behind the column? That must be Mr. Thornton's voice trying to throw it for Ms. Tipton. Yep, there she is. Ms. Tipton, I got 2 questions for you. You stated at the well a couple of minutes ago that some individual or group stated that the usage is one that's favorable. What individual organization are you referring to?
Audrey Tipton, Director of Administration and Finance. I was just trying to pull that up, but I think they were from CTAS, because you guys had asked them to come down.
Yeah, so I'm asking, do you know which ones? Because I have 3. I got the dates and times and everything, which will make it easy for me. I'm just going to say this. They presented. That means it's public record. My colleague and I are looking up the individuals and the dates now. And even though this is somewhat separate from the item that's in front of us, it goes back to Commissioner Thornton's question on whether the use is one that's valid or not. So our CFO stated on record that the aforementioned group or individuals stated that it was okay. I was present at that meeting, and I beg to differ because it was stated, in my opinion, that the usage is one that does not qualify according to the information that was given to us. So this commission, I see Commissioner Mills in the queue. I see at least 3 groups and individuals that stated that they brought information in front of us. And I would be ready I don't know if we're going to meet on Monday because they're talking about snow for the next 3 days. Whenever we meet again, that might need to be brought out, even if it has to be played for the purposes of us having the information. It may not change anybody's mind, but if that information is different from what the CFO stated on public record, we've been doing this for the last 4 years. And I'll just leave it right there. So, Commissioner Thornton, everything you said was valid. I disagree with the CFO. I believe that we do have individuals who know better that stated on record that, to your question, the usage is one that has been invalid for the last 4 years. I yield.
Thank you, Commissioner Ford. Commissioner Mills?
Thank you. I recall differently that it was stated it was not a proper use of opioid funding, and I did not vote for the connector program, and the way it was sold to us and the way it's being operated are 2 different things now. I found it odd that I couldn't even have a conversation with the District 1 connector one-on-one. You got to have a whole entourage of people, which I find very, very odd. But I believe it was stated that it was not. We are going to have to pull the tape because many people are hearing 2 different things. But that's the district connector. On the resolution, back on the resolution, I like seeing the sales tax for the jail, looking at that since it was a referendum. That would be a referendum item for the people of Shelby County to discuss. There's different ways we're going to have to go about it because it didn't get through last year. So I recommend following up on that, and I highly, highly recommend following up on the representative from Shelby County that killed it and find out why he did it and move on from there. That's just a friendly recommendation. We can talk about that later. The legislation for the jail sales tax referendum. Yeah. So that's why I say there needs to be a different approach. Know the background of what happened before going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Mills. Commissioner Caswell, can we go to Commissioner Clay Bibbs first?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I am sensitive for what the point Commissioner Thornton has brought up regarding District Connector Program. So my question is to the sponsors of this item, looking at everything that's in here. So you are saying that you just want us to accept your report?
Yeah.
And it's not a problem by pulling district connectors out? Because really what we're saying is these are the agenda items that we feel like we need to continue to push, and we're accepting the report.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, that's what we're saying. And again, to my colleague, Commissioner Thornton, I mean, I'm a friend, open to the friendly amendment, what she's proposing about the proposal, just to remove the conversation about this connector out of the report, just accepting the other items legislatively that we already approved last year to continue to move forward, those recommendations.
Okay,
And
thank
she
you.
has moved, so I will second that motion.
She just stated, she didn't state it as a motion, but she said she wanted to bifurcate, but she didn't state it as motion, she didn't get a second.
Point of information, I heard a motion to move, so Commissioner Thornton, are you moving or are you just questioning?
If I may, Chair.
I can't, sure.
Well, can I just finish my statement first? Because I'm still on my time. So, thank you. So I just want to have that clarification. And I'm stating that I am in support of what Commissioner Thornton is saying. I just want to be real clear on what you wanted us to take as an action regarding this actual thing. Okay, thank you. I yield.
Thank you, Commissioner Clay Bibbs. I don't know who I'm going to. Commissioner Thornton.
Okay, thank you, Chair, and thank you, Commissioner Sugarman. So in consultation with the parliamentarian, there is a recommendation, and I believe that the sponsor accepts this as a friendly amendment to the resolution to, I make a motion to add the following language with the exception of the recommendation pertaining to the district connectors.
All right, there's a motion by Commissioner Thornton and a second by Commissioner Sugarman. Can we do that without objection?
May I make an assist?
Yes.
Okay, so the motion is to amend after the now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Shelby County, Tennessee, item 1, at the end of that sentence, at the end where it says May 2025, you would add a comma, and then add with the exception of the recommendations pertaining to the district connectors, period. That was moved by Commissioner Thornton and seconded by Commissioner Sugarman.
Thank you so much for that clarification. Are we good with that motion?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Without objection? All right, without objection, so moved. Commissioner Thornton, is that all? All right, Commissioner Caswell, you good? Commissioner Brooks?
So I just need to be real clear. We need that, I guess that'll be an amendment. It needs to be in writing. And so I want to be real clear. Excuse me? I'm requesting. Thank you. I need to be real clear on what I'm doing. So I heard accepting and I heard receiving. So when we presented our ad hoc report, it was received. And this is what, it was no vote or anything like this, and it appears, and appearances are deceiving. It appears that that's what this is doing, but I have not heard the word receiving. I heard accepting. So I just need to know what I'm doing. Sponsor, Mr.
All right,
Sponsor.
Commissioner Caswell?
Well, I was bringing this to bring us accepting the recommendation of the ad hoc.
That's different.
Receiving. So if we're receiving, Commissioner, I'm just asking for clarity on this. So with the pilot, you brought it, it was asked to receive the recommendations, right?
Received them.
Okay.
Right.
And so that's where I'm asking this body to do, to receive the recommendations.
And the reason I ask, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off,
No.
is because accepting means that everyone would have gone through this, read all of these, internalize all of these, agree with all of these, and make a vote based on that. And this is my first time seeing any of this, yeah.
I'm sorry, Chair. I'm sorry. I'm supposed to come back to you.
I think we're still with Commissioner
Commissioner
Brooks.
Brooks, yeah.
I'm done, thank you.
So
Mr.
just, if I may, Chair,
Commissioner Caswell.
to Commissioner Brooks, so the legislative piece, you see the resolution that was signed last year, these recommendations were accepted by this body and signed by the mayor previously. These 5 recommendations, the 5 legislative items were, that's on the 3rd page, the 1 through 5, that was received and signed by the mayor in this body last year. That's the last 2 pages was that. To that point, we just wanted to follow up with our lobbyists to continue to push those items at the state level, to continue to support those items, and so that's all we're asking too, so.
Okay,
Commissioner Brooks.
just to be clear, so these were items that we all voted on, and we were all in support of last year.
Yeah.
So do we need to, and I don't know if it's the parliamentarian or the attorney, do we need to go back and have a vote on these? Because some of us may have fallen out of sync with this. Everybody may not still want to push this very same thing. So that's a question. Do we need to go back and vote on these? This was from last year. Because I may have changed my mind. I may have a different priority. Just a question.
You could bring a new resolution to amend an existing resolution if you want to make any changes to something that's already been adopted.
It was adopted last year.
But is it
part of the
still under
agenda.
continuing force and effect? Is it still in effect? Unless you modify it in a resolution.
So your opinion is that I can just bring an amendment?
Well, I'm just making a parliamentary recommendation. I cannot advise
That's what
on the
I'm
content. Yeah, but I would say that if it's a resolution of continuing force and effect, and you have a different viewpoint on what was adopted, you can bring an item to amend an existing resolution.
And if you want
Which I think this is. This is, Commissioner, this is a resolution to amend, so you could bring your own.
No, well, I'm not talking about that part.
Yes,
I'm just
ma'am.
speaking specifically to the part that that was signed by the mayor last year. I guess that's May or September of '25. I didn't know if everybody's still on board with this, finding good. I don't remember this, Maybe everybody's smarter than me, but I don't remember all of this, so I have to go back and read it to make sure that I'm still on board with it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry.
Commissioner Caswell.
And Chair, again, we can send this item down without recommendation if you like, and we can have this further discussion, allow our colleagues to look it over by Monday if they have any other questions.
All right, is that a motion?
I'd like to make that as a motion.
All right.
Second.
All right, Commissioner Caswell has moved to send this down without recommendation. Second by Commissioner Brooks. Can we do that without objection? Hearing none, so moved, so that will go down without recommendation, and that concludes committee number 4.
Well, we did accept it. Yeah, and then it was without objection. Yeah, okay. Okay. What committee was it?
What committee? Calling to order Committee 3, Hospitals and Health. Madam Parliamentarian, can you read item number 1?
Yes, ma'am. Item 1 is a resolution to amend the FY 2026 grant funds budget for FY 2025 carryover funding in the grant fund restricted fund balance for the Shelby County Health Department Violence Prevention Program in the amount of $969,870.66 for a total of $1,436,492.66 beginning November 1, 2025 through June 30, 2026. This item requires the appropriation expenditure of FY 2026 grant funds in an amount not to exceed $969,870.66 for a total amount of $1,436,492.66, sponsored by Commissioner Miska Clay Bibbs. This item was deferred in January 7th, 2026 committee meeting.
All right, thank you, Madam Parliamentarian. This item has been moved by Commissioner Sugarman, second by Commissioner Thornton. I see we have the director here. We'll defer to you. We do have some commissioners in queue.
Good morning. Dr. Bruce Randolph, Interim Director of the Shelby County Health Department, Division of Health Services. We actually have a substitute resolution. This should have been distributed to you. There's been some changes in the resolution compared to when we first presented. And so the substitute you should have before you.
Who has the substitute?
So colleagues, if you look in the blue folder, it is on the left side of your blue folder.
Well, the minutes clerk would need to have a copy.
So, Madam Parliamentarian, do you have enough time to, Madam Clerk, to take a look at the substitute?
Well, one, it doesn't follow the permanent rules. It doesn't have marked up changes, so we're not even clear on what the changes are from the original.
The only changes are the amount. So in the original, I think it was 969,000, something like that. We're asking that the amount is 915,757. So there's been a reduction to make the total $1,382,379. So it's just the amount that has changed.
So rather than a substitute, can you proffer it as just amendment? So we can just.
An amendment, then, yes.
Okay. All right. So, okay, so let's see. What? Okay, offset, okay. Are you sure that those are the only changes? Because, well, one, we found also in the caption that the version on the published agenda, where does it say? No, it says no, beginning November 1st, 2025. And the one that is being proffered now says January 1st.
Yes.
Those are the only changes?
Yes, to my knowledge, in terms of what I've reviewed, yes. Those are the only changes.
Do we want to step back and take a second?
I'm wondering if
sure.
you can send this down, maybe without recommendation, so that he can offer a proper substitute, so that the public and everybody can be on notice, because there may be some other changes in the body, and it's just not clear. But you can have an opportunity to discuss it more, but I think we need to have the proper documents in front of us.
And those proper documents are?
Well, we've already identified one other change that you did not, this has been proffered as a substitute, but we can't tell what all the changes are. If you would like me to take a moment and compare the two to make sure that there are no other changes.
I would like that, if the commission would.
So a couple things. I hear Commissioner Thornton over there wanting to make a comment, but I think for the sake of time, I think we'll go ahead and say that we will send this down without recommendation. But we will discuss the item, because I do think the disconnect here is a matter of if what matches the system is not matching what the substitute says. So,
I just want to
Madam
make sure
Parliamentarian
you are
Presiding
familiar
Officer.
with the rule with substitutes where you have to have a track changes version.
Okay.
But if you just want to make a oral changes on the floor, then the only changes that we would take up, if the chair is okay with it, then we will not accept this as a substitute. We will just make the changes from November to January, and then the $969,870.66 will be replaced with $915,757.02, and then we would replace the $1,436,492.66 with the $1,382,379.02.
That would just be an amendment? Is that what you're suggesting?
If you move that as amendment and get it properly seconded, then we can effectuate those changes in our system. But those will be the extent of the changes, because those are the only ones that have been made on the floor.
I move that as an amendment. Can we accept that without objection? So moved. All right. Now I can go to the commissioners that are in the queue. Commissioner Ford.
Thank you. Very quickly, in your folder on page 2, you did break this down like I asked, and I appreciate it. I need to disclose the Methodist Le Bonheur Community Outreach piece. There is no indirect or direct conflict. However, due to things that I stated on record before regarding this item as a whole, I will be abstaining on this item. But thank you for itemizing it as you have, because if you didn't, there would be, I want to say, at least 3 commissioners that would have to make at minimum disclosure on record. And we would not have gotten it unless we had that question answered last time this came up. So that's all I need, and I yield back.
Thank you, Commissioner Ford. Commissioner Sugarman, you're in the queue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And so these are the only sub-recipients that are listed here? And can you state them for the record?
Yes, so the recipients of the grant are the following: Youth Village, and then Methodist Le Bonheur Community Outreach, and Rafa Institute.
Okay. And as far as what their contributions are and output, what are they? Youth Villages, Methodist Le Bonheur, and Ralph.
So the services provided,
Yes.
the services provided by Methodist Le Bonheur Community Outreach included mental health counseling sessions for their shift participants, case management for shift participants and family members. Also, they engaged the shift participants through the 901 Block Squad. A 901 Block Squad was a sub-awardee of Methodist Le Bonheur. And they are involved in violence interruption. And then there's a linkage to housing, transportation, and support with school reentry. The Youth Village, via Memphis Allies, services included outreach services in which participants was engaged by someone who's currently live in the community and have lived experience. Also, the life coaching, which they met at least 5 times a week. Case management to address resources gaps such as food, shelter, and also clinical services where the participants received cognitive behavior therapy. to learn ways to cope with stress and other emotional triggers.
Okay, and are there any other sub-awardees than the ones mentioned? You said, I've heard one.
Sub-awardees?
Yeah, you mentioned one.
Okay, and that was it in terms.
Block Squad, I believe.
Right.
Was that the only
Yes,
one?
yes.
Okay, all right.
Because Memphis Allies is a DVA of Youth Villages.
Okay, so Memphis Allies comes under Youth Village, is that correct?
Yes,
And Block Squad comes under Methodist, is that correct?
correct.
And other than those two, are there any other sub-awardees?
And then the third one was Rafa Institute in terms of awardees. No other sub-awardees.
Okay, and so this is a recurring grant or one-time grants?
These are one-time, originally they were to grants that was awarded on a annual with the option to renew
Okay,
if funding is available.
right.
Right. But what we're proposing now is to use the remaining funds that's in the grant fund restricted fund balance to pay for services that have been rendered, and then to operationalize the balance to pay for personnel and other programming for fiscal year 27, 28, with the intent and hope that staff will find other funding sources to substantiate the activities of the violence prevention program.
Yeah, that was my concern, the sustainability issue, so
Right.
thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Sugarman. Commissioner Thornton, you're in the queue.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, Director, thank you for bringing back this information. Okay, so when we look at the three vendors that we're contracting with, so for this particular time, Memphis Allies is an official DBA for youth villages, correct?
Correct, it's my understanding. And by the way, I would say we have representatives for the recipients here also.
Okay, and so is there any clause that ensures that 100% of the funds awarded are going towards Memphis Allies? And there is no type of fiscal agent fee that would be applied to youth villages? Do you have any way of ascertaining that?
I would have to review the details of the contract. In the report that I've submitted, states that the grant funds were spent to pay a percentage of salaries of Memphis Allied staff members who's providing violence intervention and other program services. And then portion of the funds went to paying for rent space for the participants to attend various sessions for counseling.
And for each of these contracted vendors, where do we see their proposed budget? So the original amounts that they were awarded, I'm assuming that they submitted to the health department what their budgets would be for those amounts?
I would have to find that. I don't have it with me.
Okay, so on Monday, if you could just take notes of things that we'll need, and I would love to get that information in advance of Monday. I would like to see the original budgets submitted for youth villages, DBAing with Memphis Allies, Methodist Le Bonheur, community outreach to include whatever also is 901 Box Squad's proposed budget, and Rafa Institute. We're on the same page there?
You're right.
Okay.
Now, since we have two of the organizations represented here,
I
they
don't
may
wanna
be able
hear
to
it.
present that budget.
Right. I'll just, to the representatives that are here, they can get you that information, but it's not something I want to hear verbally. I want it to be included in the system so that the public can review it. And so, without that information, I won't be able to support this item, to be clear. So, additional questions that I have are just based on impact. So, it looks like payments have already been received for services rendered. And when you look at the charts that you provided, Rafa Institute clearly has missed 2 of those reporting periods to receive reimbursements, and the bulk of their funds have yet to be reimbursed. So in the past, when you were talking about impact data, I think you mentioned one person as being a part of their impact, which at a rate of $64,000. I'm just trying to figure out where is that data and how do we get to evaluate the impact from these 3 different organizations that are doing this violence prevention work.
Okay, so in the.
Dr. Randolph.
In the report that I've generated, it indicates some impact in terms of the number of participants reached. For instance, if we look at the report, and we take Methodist Levana Community Outreach, in their RFP, they proposed to actually have 90 participants. They're now reporting 106. Prior to when I presented, that number was lower, but that was because we didn't have all of the data, all of the reports. Now we have a complete reports for up until services ended August 2025. And so the number of persons served was 106. Ages 0 to 17. There were participants who had been admitted because of either gunshot or other injuries secondary to violence. And there's a breakdown in terms of some of the demographics, as well as services provided. Mentoring, there were 63. Mental health counseling, 74. Housing shelter, 16. And emergency financial assistance is reported to 121, as an example. So we look also at the youth village. They didn't specify a specific number in the RFP, but they report that there's 48 participants. And their program primarily goal was to address those who are at risk of being involved in gun violence. And so they had 48 participants. And again, they received the services that I stated earlier in terms of the outreach services, life coaching, case management, clinical services. So they're reporting that the numbers receiving those services around, for child care, about 40, civil and criminal justice assistance, 45, mental health, and housing services, mental health about 45, and the housing shelter about 20 or 30%. So there's a graph that detects that.
Thank you for that, Dr. Randolph. Before I go to Commissioner Caswell in the queue, I do just want to reiterate that the original awardees are, I think, under Dr. Taylor, we voted on that these people would be the awardees. So
Yes.
we're now asking for the impact results. Probably not, those questions would have gone then. So now you're simply here asking, can you move a line item to another line item to be able to honor the contracts that they were approved of under Dr. Taylor before she left? Am I correct?
You are correct.
Thank you. I just want to make sure
Right.
everyone's on the same page around what's happening so
Yeah.
that we don't go down deep in the rabbit hole anymore, because we are at a point now where I want people to be clear.
Correct. You're correct. You know, and then may I just add to that is to keep in mind, these are grants, contracts that have already been voted upon.
Correct.
The money has already been allocated to these programs. We're just simply asking that the money that's still in the restricted fund balance be appropriated to the FY26 budget so that we can pay for the services rendered and also operationalize whatever balance there is.
Thank you. Commissioner Caswell, you're in the queue.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and for that clarity, because I know this is an item that I recused on before because of my involvement working with 901 Block Squad, and again, I will recuse myself on this item.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Caswell. Commissioner Thornton, do you mind if I go to Commissioner Brooks for her first time? Commissioner Brooks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I got part of the clarification, but I need some more. I'm
Okay.
slow this morning. Even though this did come before us under the previous director, that's not my issue. My issue is, do we have any reports from that previous allocation, from monies that were previously given to, I'll just ask for one, Memphis Allies or youth villages? Same thing.
Yes, so what I'm presenting to you in this report that you have is the report.
This is the substitute.
This is the substitute.
Okay.
That's the report for the services rendered under the contract agreement that was in place prior to my arrival.
Okay. So this gives us the outcomes of the dollars that were spent.
Exactly.
Where they were spent, the subrecipients. Is that correct?
Correct.
I haven't read this, so, and I'm sure you're going to send it down without recommendation, right?
Right, we've
Okay.
already, yes, stated that.
And let me further clarify, just perusing over this is not enough information for all that money. It should be a whole lot of more pages. Let me just say this, Dr. Randolph, and I appreciate you, and I understand the position you're in. I do not support youth villages, AKA Memphis Allies. I cannot support giving public dollars to an entity, and I've said this before, and I don't vote in the affirmative. So I need to do that right now and be consistent because nothing has changed. I cannot support an entity that gets charged with killing a child. Black lives do matter. Go before the grand jury, get indicted, and the DA rescind the indictment. And the organization is allowed to proceed as if nothing happened. So, nothing personal, strictly business. I can't support this on that basis.
Thank you, Commissioner Brooks. Commissioner Thornton, you're back in the queue.
Thank you, Chair. So I just feel like the information presented is just inconsistent. So we're told that this is just to discuss outcomes of dollars already earmarked, correct? But in the allocations, $797,000 of it have not been gone towards services rendered. So are we paying you for services that were not rendered?
No, what we're asking is that the balance that's in the restricted fund that you allocated so that we can operationalize. First of all, certain services have been rendered.
So hold on, so this $797,000, according to your chart, that is the variance between the original award and total invoiced. Where is that money and what we're deciding today? Can we actually talk to finance? Because we just need to hear what exactly is happening with this item. Because there's so much confusion that I have about one of these entities that literally says that they are going to serve 24 people. They've served one person. And so there's a question for me of just proper use of taxpayer dollars. And, you know, I can receive a report, but at what point do we acknowledge the underperformance? So in this chart that was given to us, we have a chart, I'm looking, it doesn't have page numbers, but it's figure 1.2. So it says $797,000, 124 cents. And it's the variance between the original award and total invoice. So it seems like to me, we're trying to, have these people been paid for these services rendered? It doesn't have page numbers, but it's figure 1.2, summary of grant awards. It was in the packet, yeah, and then, just as y'all are figuring that part out, if I remember correctly, wasn't this initially an amendment to increase the figure? If someone that's been tracking this item since it initially was presented to the commission,
Page 2.
because there was a document that was saying that there was an amendment in, on base, and that's where we started to have this discussion in a previous committee. So I'm trying to pull it up here.
I think Commissioner Thornton has asked several questions, so Director Tipton, if you can answer the first one, is page 2 of the packet that's with the paperclip, Violence Prevention Program. So regarding the 797 variance.
Audrey Tipton, Director of Administration and Finance. Is your question, have the vendors been paid?
Okay, so my initial question is, for the initial resolution that was presented and approved by the commission under Dr. Taylor, what was the amount, and how does this particular item amend that amount?
Audrey Tipton, Director of Administration and Finance. My understanding is this resolution does not amend the amount of the original. What we're doing here is appropriating the dollars so that we can pay these vendors. The original amount, Dr. Randolph, you might have that. The original amount is still the same. They just didn't spend all of it last year. So now the balance is in their fund balance for this grant. And now they're appropriating these dollars so they can pay these vendors. There's no new money. It's all still the same.
Under Dr. Taylor, that was appropriated in fiscal year '26?
I think it was 25. I could be misspeaking.
So they carried the funds forward, and now we are looking to expend it.
Right, appropriate the dollars so they can spend them.
And none of these organizations have received funds yet?
No, they have not.
So I guess I'm looking at the time, Madam Chair, I'm back in queue.
Okay, Commissioner Thornton, you're back in queue.
Thank you, Chair. So if none of them have received any funds, my question is the initial contract from fiscal year '25, here we are in fiscal year '26, looking to pay for service that is underneath what they have budgeted that they would perform. So why would we pay full price when we're seeing in invoices that the bulk of the funds set aside for this work have not been expended? Where is that money going? Like, are we just giving monies to the health department for the $797,000? Or will they get, for the duration of fiscal year '26, to meet the figures that they set out? What is actually happening here? Is this closed and we're just looking to pay people for services that they've rendered? Or is it open in terms of the work that they can do for this program?
Dr. Bruce Randolph, Interim Director of Health Department. No, we're proposing, so the work has ended, ceased. When I came aboard, looked at the budget, see what was budget, keeping in mind that the FY '26 budget for professional services was only $50,000. We looked and saw that already we owe, what is it, 200, 300,000? Well, actually 430,000. So work has ceased. what we're seeking is, there is 1.3 some million dollars in the restricted fund that we're asking to be able to be appropriated so that we can pay the $430,000 we owe. The remaining balance, we want to have to be able to support a staff for fiscal year '27 and '28.
So I would need to see,
And that's what we were, in the budget that we had included, in exhibit.
well, I'm going to ask for finance to review this to make it more simple. The numbers aren't adding up. So in the previous funds that we are going to pay for, the remaining balance does not line up with how you want to increase the salary and fringe item. You are just increasing the professional services item, and under professional services are these three entities that don't need $900,000. They don't need that much money to be able to cover the cost of completed service. So I don't think that the commission should just give you under a budget presented, and commissioners, please look in the documents, under item 4, budget exhibit violence prevention, what's being presented to us is going from that 50,000 to 964,000. I'm assuming that 964,000 is what this chart, and these numbers don't even add up. Like, they're literally inconsistent from what's in on base to what you're providing as supplemental documents. So, you know, the documents that we have in hand are not what the public has, and the public should be able to review these consistent documents. So the item is just all over the place, and I don't know, finance, legal, and the health department, if y'all can just streamline this, but as someone who's supposed to represent constituents that are supposed to understand what government does, and on this item, we can't because the numbers are all over the place. I do not want to pay for anything more than what has already been completed, and we don't, without seeing a plan for what these staff people are gonna do, how are 3 staff gonna do what 3 entities with staff have done? So that doesn't even make sense to me in terms of sustainability. So there's just a lot of questions that I have about this item. I was hoping that it would come back to us with more clarity, but there's just more confusion. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Thornton. What I will say is, because they expected to do the substitute today, is why the packet is where it is, so it's not in the system. So the system automatically is gonna show what was deferred. And they brought this packet in. I'm really just speaking procedurally. I understand what you're saying as far as the information, but that's why it's not an on-base, because this was brought as a substitute today.
We didn't accept the substitute, we just took up the
We took an
amendment.
amended, but I think she's referring to this packet. So for noted, we made amendments of the numbers, but the packet reflects the amendment of the numbers. My ask is, at this point, is Director Tipton, if you can work with Dr. Randolph around making this plain and clear for Monday, so people have what they need, and we can we receive it by Friday via email for all commissioners to be able to review over the weekend for Monday for the vote.
Well, there it goes. Audrey Tipton, Director of Administration and Finance. Thank you. I was just about to say, we'll take the package. I'll work with Dr. Randolph, and I'll see if we can pull it together properly in a more simplified fashion, so it will make sense.
And if I may just chair, as a point of privilege, specifically in on base, it's Budget Exhibit B, Violence Prevention. If that document can align with what you're showing in Figure 1.2 Summary of Grants Awards, that's where the major inconsistency is for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Brooks, you're in the queue.
Thank you. Dr. Randolph, just a couple of things I want to ask about going through this. And mind you, I'm just looking at it just this morning, but I'd like to know if you have any other sub-recipients. I know you got Methodist, Le Bonheur, and Youth Allies, AKA, or Youth Villages, AKA Memphis Allies. Are there any others sub-recipients?
Yeah, Dr. Bruce Randolph, Shelby County Health Department. No, those are the only ones that we have, the ones listed, and that is Methodist Le Bonheur, community outreach, the youth village, and Raffle Institute was the third recipient.
Okay, okay, so I'm looking at your page 9 here. Well, not just page 9, well, page 9, services provided. You got childcare, criminal justice, mental health, housing, shelter transition, emergency, financial, academic guidance. Who's providing all these services?
So these services are provided here by the youth village.
Youth villages?
Youth villages.
So are they subcontracting with someone else?
No, it's my understanding that they operate as a DBA Memphis Allies, that perform a lot of these services under a program that they have called Switch.
Okay, so we need some outcome or some data on Allies and Switch
Yeah.
to see what they're doing, because if we don't have that data, that could be money going down the hole.
Well, the reports that I have presented to you are based on the reports that they were required to report to the health department. So what you have before you is the composite of the data, the report that they were required to report.
And so now I have a new requirement. I have a new ask. That's all. I'd just like to know who's, who is Switch? What are they doing? Who are they doing it with? Who are their subcontractors? Switch, Allies, and all these other folks.
So the Switch program, as I understand it, is a program that was developed with a single goal in mind, and that is to reduce gun violence in the Memphis, Shelby County. And it involved having
Dr. Randolph,
I know all about it.
Right, yeah, I think let me try to save some time here, because I think what I hear Commissioner Brooks, she's asking is, yes, she understands Memphis Allies is working as a program and Switch is a program. Now she is asking, who are they partnering with in order to execute their work? So now we started at this high level. The recipients have received, they answered the call, they got answered the RFP, they got the contract, they're now out executing the work. So now I'm hearing Commissioner Bush ask, well, who is it that the sub-recipients then go out in community and work with? So I think that is where we are going deeper into that. And I don't think you can answer that
No,
right
I
now.
cannot.
Yeah.
But again, there's representatives here who should be able to answer that.
I don't think they're asking to hear them, because I've heard one commissioner say she wants it in writing.
Okay.
So let me just say one thing to wrap up my question. I understand all about it. I was at the rollout of Switch. But what I need some paper, some data on paper that I can read to show me how the money's being spent by everybody that's getting $1.
Okay.
That's my ask, right? Everybody, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Brooks. So now we're at the point, this item will go down without a recommendation. I think previously Commissioner Caswell made that second for me. All right, and we accepted it without objection. All right, Madam Parliamentarian, can you read item number 2, please?
Item 2 is a discussion item to last approximately 10 minutes. Monthly status update on South Memphis air monitoring. Deputy Director Casey Smith-Alexander presenting.
We were told that we're not even going to take the whole 10 minutes to get some of this time back. So there we go.
Good morning, Commissioners. Casey Smith-Alexander, Deputy Director of the Shelby County Health Department. Shelby County Health Department received funding from the United States Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, in the amount of $411,000. Shelby County Health Department Ambient Air Monitoring Program aims to expand to an area of Shelby County that is of particular concern due to environmental justice issues which impacts South Memphis. This air monitoring station will provide 24/7 real-time reporting of criteria pollutants such as ozone, particulate matter, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and lead. As of January 12th, 2026, we have expensed $304,801.46. The various items that has been bought: the air monitoring shelter in the amount of about $76,000, air monitoring equipment, $151,295, construction, $40,640,000, professional engineered drawings and permits, $13,849, technology, $17,360, and other various items for $5,826. As of December 17th, 2025, the Consolidated Analytical Systems Company has projected that they expect manufacturing and production commencement January 15th, 2026. Expected expedited manufacturing January 15th through February 16th. Systems testing and validation expected February 16th, 2026. And shelter ready for shipment to Shelby County, estimated time of delivery, February 23rd, 2026. I will welcome any questions at this time.
Commissioner Ford.
One question, and this is, and thank you for doing these monthly updates. There are people that do listen, and they go back and rewind the tape to hear these updates. I just got one question because this was brought to me by a few people in the district. When you presented initially, you talked about the 1.5 mile radius, and there were pollution sources such as traffic patterns on interstate and roads in the industrial areas. At this particular place on where we're at in the timeline, is there anything that you can address or readdress regarding that radius and those pollution sources?
Casey Smith Alexander, Deputy Director. If I'm understanding you correctly, you're asking if anything has changed between now and then with the radius?
Yes.
No, nothing has changed.
Well, as far as the sources, are we at this particular place in the timeline able to do more regarding those pollution sources?
Casey Smith.
To abate the issues that they give pollution-wise.
Casey Smith Alexander, Deputy Director. At this time, I'm going to say no.
Okay. So, but nothing has really changed?
No, sir.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Commissioner Brooks.
Thank you. Just one question in reference to the EPA having to, I guess, back up on their rules and permitting processes and procedures. What impact would that have on any existing data centers here in our county?
Casey Smith Alexander, Deputy Director. Going forward, they will have to have a construction permit, as stated in the new rules that EPA has come down with.
Okay.
And we do follow their regulations.
Well, I do have a question. I don't know if the attorney can answer it now. I'd like to have a question answered. I'm wondering, since there was quite a bit of advocacy for the health department to require them to have a permit or do permitting of XAI, and the health department said at the time, the best of their knowledge, they weren't required. Now we know that they were required. So I'm wondering, is there any action that can be brought on behalf of the constituents in light of the fact that they are now doing what we asked them not to do?
Jordan Galtelli, County Attorney's Office. I will look into that and have an answer to you by Monday.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Brooks. Look like that's all in there. Thank you all for your presentation. Oh, that's on your committee. Next committee is, if you can call to order committee number 8.
Okay, so you're calling to order committee number 8, and Want me to read item 1 into the record? Yes, sir. Item 1 is a resolution approving a contract amendment with Intercon Security Systems, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $75,044.16 for the term from July 1, 2025 through June 30, 2026, for the purpose of providing security services at the Crime Victims and Rape Crisis Center location for the Division of Community Services and 1075 Mullen Station, with the option to renew for one additional one-year period beginning July 1, 2026 through June 30, 2027. This item requires the expenditure of FY 2026 county general operating funds in an amount not to exceed $383,433.12, sponsored by Commissioner Charlie Caswell, Jr.
All right, thank you. That is moved by myself and second by Commissioner Thornton. Director, you have anything?
Good morning. Sandy Bromley, Division of Community Services. This is a simple piggyback contract on an existing security contract, just to make sure that we have security for shift at CVRCC, since it's a 24/7 program. Rape crisis is a 24/7 program. So we need overnight security there, and then we're adding a security out at 1075 Mullen Station as well for pretrial services, veteran services, and the Crime Victims and Rape Crisis Center. And the administration recommends approval of this item.
All right, thank you, Director. Seeing none in the queue, let's take this item to vote. All right, seeing all that voted, let's tally the vote.
We have aye votes from Commissioner Caswell, Sugarman, Thornton. We have 3 aye votes.
All right, that item goes down with a favorable recommendation. That ends committee number 8.
Calling to order Committee 10, General Government. Madam Parliamentarian, can you read item number 1?
I'm the vice chair.
Passing it over to the Vice Chair.
Item 1 is a resolution approving the election of notaries public for appointment and a reappointment for Shelby County, Tennessee, sponsored by Commissioner Henry E. Brooks.
Thank you, and seeing no commissioners in the queue, let's take this item down for a vote. Oh, move it a second? This is moved by myself. It's so long that I've spoken. Okay, moved by myself and seconded by Commissioner Ford. Seeing no commissioner in the queue, now let's take this item down for a vote. Get rusty. Oops. May I have a tally?
We have aye votes from Commissioner Caswell, Sugarman, Ford, Thornton. We have 4 aye votes.
This item goes down with a favorable recommendation. Parliamentarian, please read item number 2 into the record.
Item 2 is a resolution confirming the mayor's recommendation of appointment of Dr. Scott J. Collier, M.D., as Shelby County Medical Examiner, sponsored by Commissioner Miska Clay Bibbs and Commissioner Henry E. Brooks.
Thank you. This item has been moved by myself and seconded by Commissioner Ford. If you wouldn't mind, just state your name and position for the record, and you may begin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Harold Collins, Chief Administrative Officer, Shelby County Government. It is our pleasure to present to you Dr. Scott Collier as Shelby County's Chief Administrative Officer as pursuant to the county charter. The mayor makes that appointment and confirming that appointment and then presenting it to this body for confirmation. Dr. Collier served Shelby County previously as the physician coordinator for Shelby County Child Fatality Review, the University of Tennessee Health Science Center as assistant medical examiner, forensic pathologist consultant for the University of Tennessee Health Science Center, and assistant medical examiner forensic medical management services for PLC in Middle Tennessee. He holds a bachelor's, pre-med college science at the University of New Orleans, an MD from Ross University, anatomic pathology residency at the University of Tennessee Health Science Center, and forensic pathology fellow at the University of Tennessee Health Science Center. Dr. Collier is here to answer any questions for you, should you have any. Thank you.
Before I go into the queue, Dr. Collier, is there any comments you'd like to make before the commission?
Just good morning, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Ford?
One question, and my statement before I say my question is, it takes a special person to be the medical examiner of any county, as well as a coroner as well. So my one question to you is there anything that you will be doing in your capacity as the ME that would also be similar to what a coroner would have to do?
I don't see there being much difference. Certainly, I don't have anything planned that my predecessors haven't done before me. The biggest thing moving forward is that with our staffing getting up to a par level, we're now able to once again return to a regional forensic center where we service the other counties in West Tennessee.
That includes what, Fayette, Tipton?
Fayette and Tipton are currently being serviced by the Forensic Center here in Memphis. That includes all other counties in West Tennessee. We are currently just servicing Shelby, Fayette, and Tipton.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Brooks?
Thank you. Just one question in reference to children. When you have babies, it's sad to even for me to even say baby die. But are there any special protocols or kinds of things that you do when babies die? Newborns.
I'm sorry?
Newborns.
Newborns. We treat newborns basically as an unknown case. We perform extensive autopsy, ancillary laboratories such as microbiology, histology. So oftentimes, we'll even consult with a neuropathologist. But basically, we exhaust all resources when dealing with an infant autopsy.
And you mean beyond what you would do, I don't want to say normal, but that's the only word I can think of, a normal autopsy.
Certainly. An adult that comes in that is a gunshot wound of some sort, we would not typically perform some of those laboratory tests. We would continue to do toxicology as required by our governing body. However, we don't always do microbiology or histology simply because it's not relevant to the case.
You didn't say that you treat them as unknowns, do you? Newborn.
As an unknown cause of death. Basically, we're going to exhaust all of our testing to discover what the actual cause and manner of death are. So we treat it as an unknown cause of death.
Until
the autopsy and the laboratory results are available, correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Thornton?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for offering a candidacy and accepting this term. I just wanted to just take this moment to just educate the public on just this opportunity for our future medical examiner of Shelby County. So can you just talk more about your educational pathway and professional pathway that qualifies you for this role? And then if you could also speak to, do you ever work with students or particularly MSCS students to be able to expose them to this career path?
So currently, we deal with a lot of trainees and mostly medical students. We will have other occasionally high school students that come and shadow with us and get exposed to what we do and the services that we provide. As far as my background in education, I initially was in medical sales, at which time I basically served as director of operations and managing other people. I had a career change where I went to medical school later in life, went to the Ross University School of Medicine. As Mr. Collins said, I followed that up with a pathology residency here at UT Memphis, and followed that with a forensic pathology fellowship also here at UT. After that, I served on staff at the West Tennessee Regional Forensic Center for roughly 2.5 to 3 years, at which time I accepted a position at the Nashville office at the Middle Tennessee Regional Forensic Center. During that time of about approximately 2 years, I also continued to work here in Memphis on kind of a locum tenens role. And then once my predecessor, Dr. Marco Ross, announced his retirement, I was recruited to basically succeed him.
Thank you for sharing. I hope that inspires someone listening. And you mentioned occasionally you have high school students that shadow. How is that coordinated?
Typically, they will reach out to us, and we will make arrangements for them to come and see the facility, get the chance to meet with different departments within our facility. We have investigators, we have forensic technicians, we have pathology assistants, so they get a chance to meet with all the different aspects of forensics that we offer here at the Forensic Center, because there are many different careers within forensic science that I think are much more available. There's information more available now than when I was coming up. So we've got quite a few that reach out to us and request opportunities such as that.
So I'm going to ask my assistant to connect with you so we can connect with you and
Absolutely.
y'all. And expect a tour from District 10 students real soon.
Absolutely.
Thank
We'd
you
love
so
to
much.
have you.
Thank you.
Okay, Chief Collins?
Harold Collins, Chief Administrative Officer. Let me say we are very, very blessed to have Dr. Collier. As you know, Dr. Ross announced his retirement a long time ago, and it took quite a while to recruit someone of Dr. Collier's status. It is very difficult to recruit forensic pathologists in our community, particularly here in Memphis, but nationwide. And so we're very lucky to have him and to bring him on board as Shelby County's leader in forensic science.
Thank you. Let's take this item down for a vote. May I have a tally?
We have aye votes from Commissioner Caswell, Sugarman, Ford, Thornton, Brooks. We have 5 aye votes.
Thank you. This item goes down with a favor recommendation. Congratulations, and we'll see you Monday.
Great, thank
Okay?
you very much.
Thank you. Now I'll turn this office committee over to Commissioner Brooks.
Thank you. Is it necessary for Dr. Collier to come back Monday?
It's not necessary, but if you would like to.
Okay.
Trying
to help you out here.
Okay. Commissioner Brooks, would you like to take over your committee?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Madam Parliamentarian, item number 3, please.
Item 3 is a resolution to amend the Board of County Commissioners Permit Rules of Order, PRO Rule 12, to authorize members of the Board of County Commissioners to institute procedures to censure commissioners in the event the conduct of commissioners is determined to be disruptive by a supermajority vote of the Board of County Commissioners. Sponsored by Commissioner McKell Lowry, this item was deferred to January 7th, 2026 committee meeting.
All right, so my computer is stuck. Okay. This item was moved by Commissioner Sugarman and second by Commissioner Caswell. I cannot see my board. Do we have any information from the sponsor? He's not here. I know he's not here. Okay. According to the Administrator Perry, the sponsor wishes to withdraw the item. Can we do that without objection? So moved. Okay. All right. Madam Parliamentarian, item number 4.
Item 4 is an ordinance third reading, ordinance to amend the Shelby County Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 10, Article 7, Sections 10-373, definitions, and 10-388, temporary housing of children, creating rules for seclusion in the Youth Justice and Education Center. Sponsored by Commissioner Henry E. Brooks, Commissioner Erica Sugarman, and Commissioner Charlie A. Caswell, Jr.
Thank you, ma'am. Madam Clerk, can you tell me who moved it?
You need a second.
This item was moved by Commissioner Sugarman and second by Commissioner Caswell. Director Alexander.
Good morning, Anthony Alexander, Director for the Division of Corrections. Commissioners, I'm here to answer any questions you may have regarding this third reading of the ordinance and seeking your approval to pass this to ensure that we end solitary confinement in the youth juvenile court setting, just as we've done in the adult facilities.
Okay, any questions? I think my board is. Okay, seeing no members in the queue, we will move to the question. Madam Clerk, please prepare the board for the question, for the vote, okay? Every member desiring to vote, please cast your vote. Aye for Commissioner Brooks.
Well, my computer ain't working, so I'm out.
Caswell, aye.
Commissioner Shelby, are you voting?
Hers ain't working.
Yes. Okay. Mine is frozen again, too. Are you voting, Commissioner? Commissioner Thornton, are you voting?
So you voting aye or not? Aye or nay? Madam Clerk, may we have a tally?
We have aye votes from Commissioner Caswell, Sugarman, Thornton, Brooks. We have 4 aye votes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That item goes down with a favorable recommendation. We are now on item number 5. Madam Parliamentarian.
Item 5 is an ordinance third reading, ordinance to amend the Shelby County Code of Ordinances to add Article 8, Family Leave, Division 1, Paid Parental Leave under Chapter 14, Employment and Employees for the establishment of a permanent paid parental leave program for Shelby County employees, sponsored by Commissioner Erica Sugarman. This item was substituted in January 12, 2026 Commission meeting.
Okay, I think this is correct. This item was moved by Commissioner Sugarman and second by Commissioner Thornton. Seeing no members in the, oh, we have a presentation. Wonderful. Okay. Director Thornton, you're recognized. Okay. All right. So just identify yourself and
Yes.
we'll go on with that.
Aziza Taylor, Shelby County Mayor's Office. Commissioner, as it is my first time before committee, I would like to just share a few brief points. Good morning, Committee Chairwoman Commissioner Brooks, Vice Chair Bradford, and esteemed Shelby County Commissioners. I want to begin by sincerely thanking this body for its leadership, support, and continued commitment to Shelby County's families and workforce. In sponsoring this item, I would also like to thank Commissioner Sugarman for her leadership and steadfast advocacy, and acknowledge my colleague, former Deputy Chief of Staff and interim Shelby County Chief Public Defender Jerry Green, whose foundational work helped advance this policy. It is especially meaningful for me to be back in my hometown of Memphis as an employee of Shelby County government and to appear before this committee for the first time. I was grateful for the opportunity to briefly appear before the full commission last week, and I appreciate the continued engagement and support shown throughout this process. I look forward to continuing to give back through service to the community that shaped me. In 2020, the commission took a decisive and values-driven step in approving up to 6 weeks of paid parental leave for full-time employees, establishing a policy that supports family well-being, workforce stability, and ensures parents can recover and bond with their children without sacrificing financial security. I'm here today for this third reading because the commitment deserves to be secured. Codifying paid parental leave is not about revisiting a decision, it is about affirming it. Codification cements a shared value, aligns our employment policy, workforce stability, retention, and continuity, and ensures that an already funded and proven benefit is permanently reflected in our code of ordinances. I would also like to acknowledge the Southern Office Policy Director, Feroza Freeland, from A Better Balance, whose policy expertise and advocacy have helped inform this work from the very beginning, and she's joining us today. And I will just offer a little bit of time. If you all have questions for Director Freeland, she is here and available. And I would also like to acknowledge Director Thornton here for any questions on the policy side and HR side. But I just thank you to all the commissioners for your leadership and continued partnership throughout this whole process. So thank you for the time.
I'm sorry, I missed, what's your name? And you're the director of what?
Yeah, thank you. My name is Feroza Freeland. I'm the policy director of the Southern Office at A Better Balance. We're a nonprofit that advocates for working parents and caregivers.
Oh, okay. And so why are you here other than to just give support?
Sure, I'm happy to share some brief remarks if that's okay. So we are, like I said, a national nonprofit that advocates for parents and caregivers. We were honored to partner with the mayor's office and the commission to support the initial passage of this policy back in 2020. I'm also a native Memphian, and I had the privilege of being taught government at White Station High School by Commissioner Sugarman. So really great to see you again and be able to support this policy. We know that, paid parental leave is essential for helping people to be able to take care of their families. It allows them to use their sick days for when they or their child are really sick. And then they have the parental leave separately when they welcome a new child into the family. That helps reduce the spread of illness. It also improves health outcomes and supports bonding for parents and families. And this is especially important in terms of the overall strategy to reduce the alarmingly high maternal and infant mortality rates that we see in Shelby County. We know that paid leave supports recovery from childbirth, helps reduce postpartum depression. It ensures that children can get critical medical checkups. It promotes breastfeeding. It helps fathers stay engaged with their children's lives, and overall just supports healthy bonding and development for children and families. And, it also helps Shelby County remain competitive as an employer in recruiting and retaining the best and brightest. So really just here to encourage you all to support the codification of this policy, and happy to answer any further questions.
Well, I do have one, and I think all of those are laudable goals. I support this 100%. It should have been done a long time ago. But what sticks out for me is, being my age, I have a history of knowing the kinds of employers here in Shelby County, Memphis and Shelby County. So I'm trying to figure out, how are we going to get these $13 an hour, $15 an hour employers? How are we going to ensure that they comply? What's the compliance mechanism? And then if they don't comply, what are the consequences?
Well, thank you so much, Commissioner Brooks, for your question. And I just wanted to thank Director Freeland for her continued partnership in sharing those insights. And again, thank our amazing commissioners for your leadership and your continued partnership throughout this process. I will defer that question to Director Thornton.
Okay. Director Thornton.
Gerald Thornton, Director of Human Resources. Commissioner Brooks, this policy is actually geared towards Shelby County government, this is Shelby County government, not for the county of Shelby. This is Shelby County government specific for our employees, not a policy that's going to cover all of Shelby County.
Why?
Because we don't have jurisdiction over Shelby County, and that this is an employment policy that covers
For Shelby County, okay.
for Shelby
I got
County
that part.
personnel.
But we are Shelby County government. We set
Right.
the policy for Shelby County, okay?
Right.
The largest county. We're the government.
Right.
That's part of our job, is to set policy. This is a policy recommendation, but it's just for, I know it's your bill. But I'm trying to understand, see, this would be good to go outside of Shelby County government. I'm trying to understand why not. I mean, is there a legal barrier?
I referred to,
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question, Commissioner? Was this regarding countywide policy?
I know it's not a countywide, I've just been informed of that.
Yes, ma'am.
But I want to know, are there any legal barriers that would prevent this from being a countywide policy or policy for Shelby County? And leaving out the special district, we can leave out the special district of Memphis, but Shelby County.
Yes, Commissioner. Lease overall County Attorney's Office, I believe that would be a jurisdictional issue. We would not have jurisdiction over private employers.
Okay, well, let me ask you this then. Will we have jurisdiction over Shelby County contractors, people who are doing business with Shelby County? Would that be a requirement in our local contracts?
Lease overall County Attorney's Office, no, Commissioner, that would not be an option that's available.
So you're saying that, excuse me. Excuse me. So you're saying that if someone is subcontracting with Shelby County government, they're receiving Shelby County government public funds, and we have this policy, parental leave policy, and you're saying that if we have a contract, we enter into a contract with them, you're saying we cannot put in that contract this parental leave policy? Is that what you're saying? We can't do that? And we are paying them? They're receiving public dollars?
Lisa, overall County Attorney's Office. That's correct.
I'm not a lawyer, but could you help me to understand or give me the basis for that, some kind of citation or law or something? Because it seems like we need to fix that.
Lisa, overall County Attorney's Office. Commissioner, we would be glad to provide that for you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, Commissioner Thornton.
Thank you, Chair. To legal, just to continue the conversation that Commissioner Brooks started, so I've seen from the state, like pro-Israel language that's included in contracts in particular. Would it not be plausible for us to be able to, through legislative action and possibly another ordinance, say that the parental leave language would need to be included in each of the contracts, or that we've talked about pilots, we've talked about TIFs. Like, is there a way for us to be able to push this particular legislation beyond Shelby County employees through any of the inroads that we have? And we're trying to leverage the $1.6 billion that we disperse across the county. So maybe not jurisdiction over all private employers, but anyone that is contracted with Shelby County would have to honor this policy through their business.
Megan Smith, County Attorney's Office. Thank you for the question. The reality is the county only has that power which is granted to it by the state. This is currently not among them. So we're not in a position to require it of contractors that we currently are in business with, or those that in the immediate future. The avenue for applying something that general, a law of general applicability, would be to potentially amend your legislative agenda again, add this to the list of items you'd like the General Assembly to authorize. That might allow an ordinance to take place in the future, but I can affirmatively state that is not an available option today.
Okay, that makes sense to me. So we have to go through the General Assembly. Okay, I just wanted to be added as a sponsor. This conversation was interesting beyond that. Thank you for the work that y'all do.
Okay, it's been moved, Commissioner Thornton moved to be added as a sponsor, the second by Commissioner Ford. Can we do that without objection? So moved. So let me ask this. So you're saying that to the attorney that any contractual language that the Shelby County Commission wants to engage in, we have to get permission from the state legislature?
Megan Smith, County Attorney's Office. I won't say any. I do think that is a broad stroke, but I can say that this is not among those things that you could require at this time. We've had, historically speaking, other county employee policies with the same sort of barrier. We are allowed to construct ordinances. Our ordinances are
contained to unincorporated Shelby County, for example. When it comes to contracting with private industry, there are a lot of limitations. There are some rules that we can apply to those contracts, but this is currently not among them. So if there is a specific item that you would want me to take a look at, I can evaluate that with the contracts team. But I can tell you that this just isn't one we can require today.
Okay, but this is it. This, and I guess everybody in the room is smarter than me because I'm not getting this, and maybe I just need to study some more. But it appears to me, and I'm not a lawyer and not playing one, but common sense says, if I'm giving you money, I'm giving you public dollars over which I am the steward, okay? Then it should be, I should have the authority, the leeway, the discretion, whatever you want to call it, to put conditions on that public money. So, and if that's the issue I'd like to have researched, because I need to understand that. It's just not making sense to me.
I completely understand and can say that there are actually express limitations on what government can require in its contracts. And I'm happy to provide that information to you and a path forward to having that changed.
So, one more thing, and I'm not going to belabor this. So, if we can't require it in contract, would there be another path to getting this required of any contractors with Shelby County government?
Megan Smith, County Attorney's Office. I believe that the path that we've sort of generally laid out for Commissioner Thornton would be the best path forward to having that applied more generally.
Okay, we could just get some research and some, maybe just some additional information on that. Appreciate it. We got a lot we need to do. Okay, Commissioner Ford.
All right, very quickly, Ms. Smith, you're still there through the chair. For the time being, we as commissioners still have the authority to accept, reject, and modify to a limited capacity any type of resolution that has a contract tied to it, correct?
Megan Smith, County Attorney's Office, those contracts that come before the board, you still have the authority to vote them up and vote them down.
Right, so until we get to that particular point to where we might have some legislation that has a little bit more teeth that won't get disapproved by the state, we can still do what you just said. So I say that because there have been several times, and I don't want to get off of paid parental leave, which I support. There have been several instances where this body has had multiple contracts in front of them, and the questions have been asked, and sometimes things have been supported, sometimes those things have not been supported. So at one time, and this is to you, Ms. Smith, I know that we have not asked particular questions on record because of things that deal with demographics. However, sometimes those questions do need to be asked for the purposes of us making the best decisions. There's one example that I know, I don't know if Commissioner Thornton remembers or not, but there was a scoring system that was given, and it was a business, and I want to say it was a over 50% minority spend business, and the administration wanted the other business. And in committee, and I hate to bring up black-white, but if you go back and look at that particular tape, every black commissioner voted in favor of that vendor that had more than 50% black spend. 5 days later, it changed, and you and I were the only ones that stayed within our vote. You got the right to change your mind. But the point I'm trying to say is, if we're going to be consistent, let's be consistent. And let's utilize more what we have as commissioners, all 13 of us, if we are going to genuinely challenge any contracts or any type of policies that are going to be in front of us. I have no issue with what's in front of us here. I supported it last time. I support it now. This does not cost any additional money that we already have in the existing budget, so I would urge my colleagues to support this item, and thank you.
All right, seeing no other members in the queue, We will move to the vote unless our presenters have some other remarks.
No, we just thank you all so much for your support, and thank you, Commissioner Ford.
Thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk. You remember, cast your vote. Every member voted. May we have a tally, please?
We have aye votes from Commissioner Sugarman, Ford, Thornton, Brooks. We have 4 aye votes.
All right, thank you very much. That item goes down with a favorable recommendation, and that will conclude General Government Committee. We will now convene Core City Neighborhoods and Housing, Committee 11. Madam Parliamentarian, item 1, please.
Yes, ma'am. Item 1 is a resolution approving the sale of 24 county-owned delinquent tax parcels acquired by Shelby County from various Shelby County tax sales to identified purchasers at various prices collectively totaling $136,904.75 pursuant to Tennessee Code annotated Section 67-5-2507 and authorizing the Shelby County Mayor to execute with claim deed, sponsored by Commissioner Henry E. Brooks.
All right, that item has been moved by Commissioner Thornton, second by Commissioner Brooks. We have presenter, Ms. Esther Sykes-Wood.
Thank you. Esther Sykes-Wood, Land Bank Administrator. This sale had a total of back taxes of $209,192.20. We asked $127,293.75 as the sales price. Our sales price was, actual sales came in at $9,600 higher than our asking price. However, we were still negative $72,287 in collecting all the back taxes. There were 5 buyers that were from out of town, and they purchased 11 properties, and 18 of these parcels were sold for less than back taxes owed.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Thornton.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Administrator Sykes-Woods, I'm going to send an email. I had a constituent reach out who's trying to reach you, and so if you could just respond to that, that'd be helpful. And then if you could just update us, how many current holds are active in Shelby County on parcels?
Esther Sykes-Wood, Land Bank Administrator. So I thought we were going to add a discussion item on here. I am prepared. I have some data for everyone if you wanted to. I just know that previously.
It's not here.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
My apologies, but I don't know why I'm apologizing because I don't have anything to do with this agenda.
Well, Esther Sykes-Wood, Land Bank Administrator. I can add that I've sent out an email before commission today, and I have those numbers here if you all would like me to go ahead and address it now.
You can.
Okay. So previously, we were going to have the discussion on this. There were some questions, and you had requested an email sent to me with further follow-up questions on holds. I never received that email, but I went back to the discussion last time and tried to recap some of the questions that arose. There were some regarding authority. Again, there's the authority for holds is found under 67-5-2507 of the TCA. There has been a memo from the county attorney's office on the very topic of the authority for the administration to place holds on properties. Additionally, and then there was another question about cherry picking, right? Are we just putting certain properties that are nice on hold for individuals? What we have now is a strategic hold type of situation. And that is because of previous practices with holds at the land bank. When I first got here several years ago, no one really knew how many properties we had on hold. So we went through our inventory. I first, told everyone just quit putting properties on hold for no reason. But they would put them on hold because they were landlocked or because they were next to a stream or because they were a strip. After I went back and reviewed the state law, it's like, no, we can't just put these on hold. We do have to list them for sale. But then we put disclaimers on them saying, this property's landlocked, you have to be an adjacent owner to buy it, and things like that. So they are listed for sale now. This is a little strip of land that might be next door to someone. They can buy it if they want to. It's no longer just on hold in some vacuum database. So after we cleaned up the database, we went through and started thinking about what types of holds we're going to implement. We have basically what we call strategic planning holds, and that's what we're talking about with these large holds of parcels for the NACO process, and it was Commissioner Easter Thomas who has secured some funding in, I believe it is Commissioner Brooks' district, for the other large hold. These are strategic holds where it is beneficial to the community to acquire properties and in close proximity to make the most impact, economic impact, and revitalization impact in a community. Now, we might think, well, how do I have any idea of what these might be? And I realize I've been before this board for a couple years, but I might just kind of go over my CV so that most of y'all know I came from the county attorney's office. But prior to that, I had a bachelor's in political science and quickly realized you can't do much with that. So I went to grad school and I studied in city regional planning, and I have my master's in city and regional planning. I practiced in the field for 10 years. I also have my postmaster's in geographic information sciences. So as we went through the NACO process with Commissioner Sugarman, and when I say it was a process, this was a 4-month planning session that all these different communities would attend with NACO, and they would teach us and go step by step on how to figure out which properties. Well, I identified the properties for this hold using my GIS powers and finding a most consolidated area that we can make the most impact, right? So when we talk about strategic hold, it's not whimsical, implementation. It is an investigatory look at what is the major impact we can do in a certain area. Other reasons why we might have a hold is because pending litigation. If there's litigation matters, perhaps the previous owner has filed redemption, and that is just lingering in the courts, right? So, and then kind of adjacent to that, there's a cloudy title issue. I know most of ours don't have clear title. However, some of them come in, and we become aware of certain issues that I'm certain this board would very much appreciate not getting a call from an individual finding out they purchased something and the county should not have ever gotten it, right? So certain properties will go to tax sale, but it was due to a clerical error. We go through our inventory from time to time to alert y'all to that. So that's what I'm talking about when I talk about a cloudy title issue. We don't know if we actually should have this in our inventory to begin with, so we don't have it listed for sale while we go in and research this. And then our last category I call projects, and that would be Commissioner Brooks' gardens, right? She secured funding to put community gardens on some properties in her district, and so those are on hold while she develops and goes through her project. So going back to those different categories, the NACO, we call it NACO in the office, but it's on hold through the NACO process. It's that Commissioner Sugarman let us cooperated with us and we went through with, but they are on hold potentially for the Building Home program because we've found that might be the easiest way to implement a large-scale redevelopment program, 120 lots. In the what we call the Hyde Park area hold, there are 183 lots. There's another 3 lots we have on hold, and those are a part of the Garden Walk condominiums. I don't know if we know much about condominium law, but when a condominium is demolished and people just start leaving it, it's really hard to redevelop it because in order to redevelop it as a new use, you have to get every single parcel back under one ownership so that you can then get rid of the master deed or redo the master deed so that you can create something different than the condominium association. So we have those on hold. We're going to try to continue to collect those. And that was one we had just previously approved, another purchase. She purchased, I think, 50 of them already. But now we're getting more and more of them, so we're starting to hold them again so that we can then go through that conveyance process.
Let me ask you this before
Yes, ma'am.
I forget. I'm trying to figure out, how do you get all of those on one deed when you got several?
Yes,
Many.
ma'am. Esther Sykes, Land Bank Administrator. So when someone, let's say they have a 100-acre property and they say, I'm going to build townhomes, they go in and, they come up with their development plan, and that's going to be one portion where, like the map side and all the restrictions, but then they come up with what they call a master deed, and that's going to be any sort of condominium association or homeowners association, and that master deed governs every single property that was divided out from that 100 acres. And the only way to get rid of that is to put them all back into one. So it's kind of falls under covenants of land, and then it's old English law and things like that. But I can get some more on that for you. if
So
you'd like.
okay, just one thing. I want to see that. So that's a process that is laid out in statute?
That is more of a process that comes from common law. I wouldn't say, I can go back and look and see if there's a statute that speaks specifically to it, but I don't recall one off the top of my head. It's
I would
mainly
like to see
just
that. Yeah.
practice, yeah.
That'd be interesting to see, and what maybe grew from that. Yeah, when you have time, just if you.
Yes, ma'am. And then we have, of our project properties, we have 10 properties, and those are the community gardens on hold. We have 11 on hold for litigation, and then we currently have one on hold for cloudy title because we have an encroachment on it. So there's a house that's split on this property line, and we're trying to figure out ownership and everything with it. But those are our holds right now. Now, I did want to address, sometimes people think a property's on hold, they'll call it and they can't apply for it, but the property's not really on hold. There are other statuses that means that they cannot apply for it. So if it's in redemption, which means there's a period of time after the tax sale that the person can file in court to get the property back if they pay the back taxes. That can be either 30 days, 90 days, 90 days, 180 days, or 1 year, and it's a schedule. It's all dependent on how many back taxes were owed. If it's in that period, we don't list it for sale, because again, that would be very complex if we sell to someone and then it gets redeemed, and I doubt any of y'all want that phone call. I apologize, I've lost my train of thought. Oh, and then the other one would be an evaluation. After we get the property, we need to go out and look at it. We need to see what's on there. One property we had, it was an old warehouse, and we found all these barrels in it. We had no clue what was in it. So then we had to get a phase 1 and phase 2, get someone out there and inspect it, just to make sure we didn't sell something very dangerous to a party. So that was what we used the evaluation period for. Once it's out of those, then it's listed for sale. So if someone's calling in for a piece of property and they want to buy it, but it's in one of those, they can't put in an application yet if it's in one of those statuses. Also, once it's listed for sale, we run the 10-day notice. After that 10 days, it's then out of application mode, right? Because state law says after 10 days of public notice that we have an offer on the property, we cannot take other offers on the property. So that might be something else that people said, oh, it's on hold, but it's not really on hold. What it is that the statute has passed, time has passed, and you can't apply for it. So that might cause some of the confusion with the holds. But I think that addresses most of what came up last time, and if there's anything else, please let me know.
Okay. Commissioner Thornton.
Thank you, Chair. I have been very explicit about the questions that I have, so thank you for bringing this information. So to clarify, what brought us to this point was a constituent who actually inquired about a parcel that was in one of your discretionary holds. It was in Orange Mound. It had nothing to do with redemption periods or 10-day windows. There was an actual hold put on in my district that I wasn't noticed about. But for this constituent, I would not have known that a large swath of territory was being put on hold for a project that I didn't even know about. So I am vehemently opposed. I continue to say this, and to the public, you need to pay attention because the discretions of a national conference are now securing 120 lots for District 10, District 12 Commissioner in South Memphis. So I'm not quite understanding how a District 12 Commissioner is leading a lot hold in South Memphis. And when you look at the list that I've requested from you, it's literally clustered around set streets. So there's a clear plan that this whole is operating on, but it's not clearly being announced to the public. And so as someone who's participated in emerging developer programming where the figure 81 has been mentioned about lots being potentially reserved for that cohort, there's a gap here. You said there's a hole for 120 lots. Internally, in discussions, I'm hearing 81 being planned for use. So for those remaining almost 40 lots, who, if not the District 12 Commissioner holding lots in South Memphis, what interest is targeting those 40 lots?
That's
So
just like Woodland.
I would
Thank you,
like to
Minister.
not be cut off. I'll finish. But we just need some clarity because what I don't want to see is for people to be working on a project that they plan to present to the commission, and all the while, we could have been building the capacity of people who could benefit from the project. And that's something internally with emerging developers that is increasingly becoming a concern because the programming is not being felt to be positioning participants to benefit from whatever this landholding plan is. So I think I've asked an email to you before. Who is the local point person for the Building Home program?
She's in this room right now. We have Scott and Dana with Office of Planning Development. They are here for another item. However, they've been before this board when we passed the ordinance, and I would go to them with any detailed questions. However, of course, it is in the Department of Planning and Development, so that would be Brett Ragsdale and Nadia Logan Robinson. As far as other questions, I believe, previously I had some properties on hold in Orange Mound. The Housing and Community Development Department with the City of Memphis had looked into the possibility of creating an Orange Mound Community Land Trust. They have worked with land trusts in other areas. They thought that might be beneficial. They had some preliminary meetings, and after those few meetings, that's when I believe someone had asked about purchasing these properties, and Commissioner Thornton, that's when I believe you came to me about the hold on these properties. I then followed up with HCD on their plans for the Community Land Trust, and they seemed to be very preliminary at the time, so, and they said it was okay to go ahead with them and release the hold, and I agreed. And so that's why we released it. Now, whether or not they still plan on doing this, I don't know. That would be up to them. And of course, if they do have the future intention to utilize delinquent tax parcels held in the Shelby County Land Bank for revitalization efforts in Orange Mound, I would certainly discuss those options with them.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Sugarman.
Yes, Commissioner Sugarman, I am the Commissioner of District 12 that my colleagues have been pointing out. And I don't understand why this cloak of secrecy she's talking about, because we spent 6 months, and NACO selected the Shelby County government to give us technical support. And I recruited many people from the county and city, including Esther Sykes-Wood. She volunteered service and expertise, as well as Javier Bailey. I can go on and on. And so the process looked at, first of all, overlaying the GIS over properties that had areas that had a lot of vacant properties, and it just so happened to be in Commissioner Lowry's. And we spoke to him, and he was very supportive. In fact, we had several town hall meetings. The community came out. They stated, and so again, I've stated many times, we're creating an ecosystem with emerging developers, with planners, with the community, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So again, to say this is done in secrecy is not true at all. We've talked to the mayor even, he supports this as well. So, and then also across the street, the city council. In fact, my colleague was one of the sponsors on the ordinance of building home ordinance. And so there is a process. Now, developers and realtors have said, in this particular area, which is Commissioner Lowry's area, no developers will go in there. Why? Because there had been no zero development and there were no comparables. And so our job was to activate the area so that developers and realtors could go into the area. Having said that, again, we're building an ecosystem to take down the barriers. And through this process that we took our time, weekends, nights, speaking with not only leaders locally, but at the national level, as well as other state expertise, to develop this so that we can create a system. We can take it into other areas. And so this is an ongoing process. And to say that we're doing things under a cloak, I take personal offense to, because my father and mother brought me to be very ethical, above board, and I resent the accusations. So again, we are supporting people in the communities for affordable housing. We have a 40,000 deficit in Shelby County alone. And so again, if there's any issue that anybody has, they can contact me directly. My cell number is 901-292-7968. I've been working with both my colleagues on the commission, the city council, and both mayors, as well as individuals in our community, and we are working with emerging developers. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Commissioner Sugarman, and I will never be one to step on your First Amendment right. Let you say what you have to say in response to whatever you want to respond to. Commissioner Thornton.
Thank you, Chair. And just to the public, I stand on what I just said about what's actually happening behind the scenes. So you heard a small group that is championing a cause, which is noble in its intent, but in practice right now, there's questions that we need to ask. So I am speaking to you as someone who has participated in current programming for emerging developers. There is no one who could possibly know more about what has been pitched to emerging developers than me, because at the trainings that have been held and currently are going on for the next 18 months, I was the only commissioner that was present. So when we talk about the ecosystem, the people who are intended to supposed to benefit, I know who those people are. And what I'm telling you is that they are telling a different narrative about their capacity to participate in the building home program if its intent is for emerging developers. So to the sponsor that's just come in, I'm just asking you and your team to look deeper to the emerging developers, because they are now communicating a incapacity that is not setting them up to be a part of this ecosystem. I think that the vision is noble, but already the practice is faulty. So what I don't want to see is that it's going to come before the commission to execute on something that is just going to serve the status quo. I'm having conversations with existing contractors who are not emerging developers who are saying that they are going to be the ones that are part of your ecosystem, while also having conversation with emerging developers who are saying, I don't know what I'm doing and I need additional supports. So please hear the emerging developers' interests, particularly if you're land holding right here, so that we can make sure that the emerging developers are factored into this program. And if that is the intent of the program from its inception, I want you to know today that there is a breakdown in how this plan is being executed. And so talk to the emerging developers. Don't talk to the emerging developer organizers, because there are now two different narratives that are actually being experienced. Emerging developers need additional supports. And if this is to come to the commission in the next couple of months, as I'm hearing, it's not ready. So don't build the program, but not build the ecosystem is all I'm asking. And I just think that if you are an emerging developer, whether you're supported or unsupported, tune into these conversations, because we have 120 lots that I'm anticipating are supposed to serve your interests. If you aren't ready to be able to build, to be able to contract with the government, then that's what you need to be doing now, because an opportunity is coming before you. And so I'll pause there, but I just want to just be forthcoming with the public, particularly because they are sacrificing these 120 lots, and we continue to have people who are showing interest in parcels, but because of holes, they cannot access them. So if that's the case, I would hope that the people they're held for can also access them. Thank you.
Commissioner Sugarman.
Thank you, thank you, Madam Chair. And so again, emerging developers are one component of this whole ecosystem. And again, thanks to Javier Bailey and others, we came up with, as well as Zena and some others, we looked at the Homestead Act and we revised it. And so again, we're taking down the barriers. That, of course, is a barrier that we do realize. And so we cannot build things overnight. This so far has taken over a year. It's a process. Government works very slowly. And again, I am, accountable, as well as some others, because what we're doing, there's lots of other parcels out there. And I don't know where you got that number from, but from my understanding, it's 83 parcels, not 120. So I don't know what you're reading. What they're doing across the city side, that's what they're doing. And so what I'm working with is 83 parcels in Commissioner Lowry's. We've already had meetings. It's a whole process. The emerging development is only one component of the whole process being created. And so if there are any emerging developers, et cetera, who are not satisfied, I don't know why they're going to Commissioner Thornton. And if Thornton has these numbers, ask them to reach out to me. Again, my number is 901-292-7968. We've been working over a year on this. It is a process. And there are other parcels out there, that are available. So again, if you want to dismantle something that we have been working on, that's a huge issue for me. So
Finishing her remarks.
I am stating on record that this is a process, and it's been a long process. I've given up many weekends and many days, along with other individuals. And again, it will not work overnight. So again, if anybody is saying certain things that they're not being involved, then let me know, because I have not heard. I have been talking to them, the ones I know about. I can't address anybody who's talking to you or anybody else behind closed doors. I don't know. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Sugarman. And one of the things we can do under general government, I guess if that rule still applies this month, is to bring some clarity and some transparency, and maybe everyone can get on the same page or get the same information in reference to this program. It's really coincidence, but I'm having a meeting with Rashida Jones. Is she a part of that program, to your knowledge? Yes. Okay. I'm meeting with her tomorrow. Supposedly, well, the hopes are. But anyway, I think this is a great program from what I've learned thus far, and I definitely want everyone to understand what's going on. We don't want to leave anyone out, and then, of course, we want to make sure we receive comments and input from everyone. All right. Thank you so much.
As a point of personal privilege, Chair, I would like to just acknowledge we've heard 81 internally from Ms. Jones, 83 from Commissioner Sugarman, 120 from Administrator Sykes Woods. So I just want to acknowledge the inconsistencies in the land holding conversation. The public deserves to have transparency and accuracy. So if this team could reconcile these figures, it would be very helpful for what the public is tracking. Thank you.
Okay, I just said that I want to bring that transparency via government, general government. So if you want to have some last words or you have anything else, if not, thank you.
I just want to say, we put 120 on hold. Those were what originally were identified through the NACO process. If there's been something refined since then, we can get together and figure it out for sure. But then again, to the point of no cherry picking, to make sure that list hasn't been limited, to take away the small swaths and potentially landlocked properties, things like that. So we'll have discussions on it and we'll get it fixed. Thank you. But again, when these start, it is preliminary, and the list will be refined as we move on.
Thank you so much. Seeing no other members, are you back in the queue? Commissioner Sugarman? Okay. Seeing no other members in the queue, we'll take this item to a vote. Oh, it's not a vote. Yes, it is. I'm lost. We've been going so long. Said the parliamentarian. Every member voted? All right, and Madam Clerk, can we get a tally? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Madam Clerk?
We have aye votes from Commissioner Sugarman, Mills, Thornton, Brooks. We have 4 aye votes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That item goes down with a favorable recommendation, and that, we have one other item, item number 2.
Item 2 is a resolution approving a contract with Tioga Environmental Consultants, Inc. for lead-based paint clearances for the Department of Housing in the Division of Planning and Development in an amount not to exceed $75,000. Said contract will commence immediately upon execution through June 30th, 2026, with the option to renew for 2 one-year periods upon the same terms and conditions. This item requires the expenditure of FY26 grant funds in an amount not to exceed $75,000, sponsored by Commissioner Henry E. Brooks.
Thank you. That item was moved by Commissioner Thornton and second by Commissioner Brooks. And we have a presentation. Good afternoon. You're recognized.
Good afternoon. Anita Tate, Program Manager for the Lead-Based Paint Program for the Department of Housing, Shelby County Government. We are requesting approval to hire Tioga Environmental to do our clearance testing for our post-remediation homes that we do through our lead-based paint program. It is important that we have a third party doing these clearance testing, first of all, because we want to ensure that our children are protected from the exposure to lead-based paint, and secondly, and probably most importantly, is because that is what's mandated by our funding source, which is HUD. The vendors that perform these services are required to be certified through the state of Tennessee to conduct these lead clearances. This certification complies with both federal and state regulations, and the internal staff is not able to do this because of what HUD specifies in the regulations, and secondly, it would compromise the integrity of our program. The benefits of doing third-party testing is to be in compliance with the funding requirements, to continue eligibility for future funds, and to protect the public health and safety. Approval will allow us to maintain compliance and avoid jeopardizing funding in the future. It ensures that families in our community receive safe and lead-free housing at the end, and it strengthens the credibility and transparency of our program. So we respectfully request that we are allowed to hire Tioga Environmental Consulting Firm for our lead-based paint clearance testing.
All right, thank you, Ms. Tate. Did you want to say something? Push your button and give us your name.
Scott Walkup, Division of Planning and Development Administrator, Department of Housing.
Oh, okay, okay. No comments? Nothing? Okay. Commissioner Thornton?
Thank you, Chair. I support this item and just wanted to read the demographical information on base. I would love to see the constituents track these contracts. And so this had 12 local vendors. 2 local vendors submitted a proposal, and one of them was awarded. And so I'm excited to see us do local business, and thank you for the work that you're doing. And also thank you to EOC for providing this information.
And let me just add to that, thank you for using Tioga. I did my research on this one because I got this early, and they get great recommendations from individuals outside and inside of the industry. So I appreciate you doing that, reaching out and getting someone who is respected. Let me look in my queue here and see no other members in the queue. I'm going to take this item to a vote. Who seconded this? I did. Okay. Okay, every member voted? All right. Well, thank you all so much for your presentation. And Ms. Tate, thank you so much for your good work.
You're welcome. Thank you for sponsoring.
Your name is all around good work.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have aye votes from Commissioner Mills, Ford, Thornton, Brooks. We have 4 aye votes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That item goes down with a favorable recommendation, and that concludes Core City Neighborhoods and Housing, and that concludes our standing committee meeting. We will convene our Black Caucus meeting in 2 minutes. Oh, is it recording? Are we still recording? Or is it turned off? Do we know? I mean, last time it wasn't, you know. Is there anyone that can check to see if we're still recording? Okay. Thank you.
Here's a copy of each item, just the agenda, minutes, and then budget.
Okay. Well, we need to just pass those out. You got copies for everybody? Well, there's nobody here.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
It's just 2 people here? Okay, give Thornton the minutes. Yeah, just give her the minutes and this. It's 3 items?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This is mine? Okay. That's it. Let's rock and roll.
Right, we couldn't even see the strip. It wasn't no fun, I said, it was very informative, though, but it wasn't fun. Yep. We gonna go to the show. Couldn't do that. Did you get a chance to eat? No.